FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Hello and welcome to the FAB-Racing Championship. We are here. It is the last round of the season. Three sisters. We've come back to another circuit, which is quite unusual for us, but it's going to be a good weekend. We are just in the paddock now. Joining me is Ross McIntyre. We're going to do a little walk around, see who we can catch before they get racing later on. Now, Ross, last weekend of the season, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm heartbroken knowing that this is it for 2025. We're not coming back afterwards, but very excited. There's still some championships that are very, very close. Of course, when you throw in the fact it's the final round, it always gets a little bit chaotic because people want to impress at the final time. And I just think it's going to be a fantastic race. Of course, as you said, back at Three Sisters on a new, different layout that nobody has used before for all of our classes as well. So it's similar, yes, but a bit of new hunting ground for everyone. So it's going to be crucial that people get up to speed as quickly as they can.
Well, yes, like Ross was just saying, completely new layout. Let's see who we can catch. We'll just head into the paddock now. We can see one of our riders here just having his helmet cleaned. Are we up for a little interview? Come on. Taylor, how are we?
Good, you?
Yeah, not too bad. So it's the last round this weekend. How are you feeling?
Mixed emotions, really. It's my last round of Fab, so yeah. It's not like it's on and off.
On and off. But how are you getting used to the new layout? Obviously, it's new for everyone this round, and all bikes are riding on the same. How has it been for you?
I like it. I like the tight section over there, like the flip flop. Normally it's like I don't struggle to get used to new tracks, which I don't. But yeah, I like the new layout.
So, what are your plans? Obviously, end of the season. What are your plans going to be over winter and going into next year?
Next year, well, over the winter, we really bought a 125. The pre-GP one's not the free tech, and we're going to go race on North Gloss at big tracks.
Well, good luck, and good luck this weekend for the last round. It was brilliant speaking to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, yeah, that was Taylor, one of our amazing riders. We're just going to head up the paddock a little bit more, see who else we can grab. Honestly, it's really exciting being back. I think I do see in front of me one of our female riders, Miss Daisy Polden. Daisy, how are you this weekend?
I'm very good, thank you.
And how have you found being back at Three Sisters? Obviously, slightly different circuit this time for everyone, but how have you found it so far?
Yeah, I like the new track layout. It's very fast.
Yeah, that's good. Is there anywhere in particular you're finding a lot of speed out the bike?
Not really. I'm just quite enjoying the track.
That's good to hear. And obviously, this season, how has it been for you? Where are you looking in your championship at the moment?
I'm aiming to get third in the House of Moto Championship because I'm a couple points off of the person in front of me.
Well, that's brilliant. But what about one of the FAB championships? What are you racing in?
I'm racing in the Metrokit 50s and the 50R category.
And where are you hoping to place this weekend?
I'm not too sure. I'm aiming to get top 5, but hopefully it will happen.
Well, good luck. And what are your plans for after the season finishes? Obviously, it's the last weekend this weekend. What are you looking to do over winter?
I think we might go to Spain and do some winter training, and then next year we might be on the 70.
Well, good luck, Daisy, and good job on your season so far.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank everyone at home and all of my sponsors.
Lovely stuff. We'll speak to you soon, Daisy.
Thank you.
And we have got a mass amount of riders who have just joined us at the moment. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
And just remind us what it is you're racing in.
50R.
50R. How has it been for you so far this weekend, learning the new track?
Well, I quite like the track. It's a bit bumpy in some places, but obviously last round I broke my collarbone, so yeah.
And how has that recovery been for you?
It's actually been quite good, just and chillax, but it's been quite fine, to be honest with you.
Well, that's good to hear. And obviously we're back at Three Sisters, where, like you said, last round you broke your collarbone. Any nerves or anything about coming into this weekend?
No, I feel actually quite better. I feel like when I crash, I know I can go better. I know where, because every time I crash this season, I know where I can go better in how I done it. So I feel quite confident this weekend. So
That is really good to hear. And the new layout here this weekend, nobody's ever ridden it before. How have you found that layout?
I find it quite good, but it's a bit bumpy in some places, but you can just ride it. But I find it quite good. It's also like a mini track, so it's quite small. But I like small tracks sometimes, so yeah.
That is really good to hear. And how are you hoping to do this weekend? Where are you hoping to place?
Hopefully first every race, because it's me versus Mason Frederick for setting in the championship. So
yeah, because Harrison Day's won the championship now. How are you feeling about that?
Sebastian Gaslan.
Sorry, my apologies, Sebastian Gaslan.
Yeah, it's alright, but obviously I want to try and get it, but I had bike problems at the start of the season. But I feel like, yeah, it's enough.
Well, good luck this weekend and have fun.
Thank you.
Any of our other riders fancying an interview? Hiya, how are we?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Just remind us of your name and what class you're racing in.
So my name's Max Johnson and I'm racing with 50R and 50 category.
Max, so we're back at Three Sisters after last round, running a slightly different layout this time. How have you been finding it?
Bit tricky because there's some tight sections, but it doesn't bother me because I like a bit of tightness.
That's good to hear. And obviously Sebastian Gazowski has now won the championship, but where are you hoping to place this weekend?
Top 10, but maybe even a top 5 if we can progress a lot.
That's good to hear. And anybody looking to be your closest battles this weekend? Anybody you really want to get past?
I just go out there and do what I need to do.
Very confident stuff to hear. And so how's your season been overall? How have you found it this year?
Well, we've missed 2 rounds, but all the other weekends have been really good. And this year's just all about learning, having fun and progressing as each weekend goes.
Well, good luck this weekend, Max. It was lovely speaking to you.
Thank you.
Now, who else have we got here? Hello, how are we?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just remind us of your name and what you're racing in.
I'm Riley Paisley and I will be racing in 50 and 50R this weekend.
Riley, back at Three Sisters. How are you feeling after the last round?
Well, the last round went well pace-wise, not so good results. I DNF'd twice in the 50s and finished third in the other one, and I went airborne over Emilio's bike, so...
Yes, I do have memories of that happening. Obviously, the weather looking a bit similar. We haven't really got forecast of rain at the moment, so how have you found that the track with that?
Well, I was top 5 all day yesterday, and just hoping more of the same for today.
And how are you finding the new circuit? Because obviously, new layout.
Well, we're struggling to find the right gearing, but I think we found it now, and yeah, it's a very technical circuit.
And anyone you looking to beat this weekend? Anyone you really want to get past?
I'd just like to be up the top with Kaelin and Rex. Obviously, it's my last weekend in the 50s and possibly in FAB, so...
Possibly your last weekend in FAB?
I might be doing 70s next season as my practice bike, but we're hoping to do... Well, I think we are doing the 125s next season.
So is that what you're going to be looking to do over the winter break? Just get on that 125, get a feel for it, get some practice in on that, and then see what your plan's going to be?
Yeah, well, hopefully we're getting a week in Spain on the 125, and then if we're not racing next season, we'll come here and do a few practices on the 70, because my brother will be here as well.
What's your brother going to be racing in?
I think he's doing the 12mm next season. He was here, well, the last round he did really well. He got 3 firsts. So he's feeling quite confident. So yeah, should be a good weekend.
Brilliant stuff to hear. Well, good luck for this weekend, Riley, and we will speak to you soon.
Thank you, and thank you to all my sponsors.
Brilliant stuff to hear. Now, I have found my co-presenter. He has just appeared back with me again. Ross, I'm going to pass it over to you for a little bit and let you take over some of the interviews.
Thanks, Izzy. I'll let your voice have a rest. Let's carry on down this way, shall we? After we've been absolutely mobbed by a whole horde of riders. I think there may be a couple still floating about. Let's see if Kayla Ratcliffe maybe fancies a quick one. How are we doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah.
All confident coming into the final round?
Yeah.
Gonna be fast?
Yeah.
Gonna win some races?
Yeah.
You sound like you're focused. Are you focused?
Yeah.
Do you like it here?
Yeah.
Are you going to be back next year?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Great talking there from Caelan Ratcliffe. It all looks a bit busy in that awning. So we'll, yeah, it all looks a bit busy down there, so we'll move onwards. I can see Jensen Sedras who's trying to run away from Hyde from me, and he's been doing it all season long, so I won't pressure him into doing it. Unfortunately, down the centre of the paddock, a lot of the guys are out on track at the moment. That's Matthew Thomas's awning in there. He's looking pretty quick so far this weekend. Last time, couple of race wins across the weekend at Three Sisters. But of course, it is a new layout, one that we've never used before this weekend for all of our classes on the Valley Circuit. Now, here is somebody in the paddock we've not seen in a little while, but we did run into her earlier and say we were going to speak to her regardless, even though she's going to hate me for it. Hello. From the House of Moto, it is Lauren. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, very good. Surprised at how warm it is. I was expecting it to be freezing cold. So, yeah, happy for a little bit of warmth still this time of year.
Yeah, it is quite nice. For anybody new who's watching along, doesn't know who you are, what the House of Moto is, would you like to explain to the people at home what it is you do?
Yeah, so I started up House of Moto just out of nowhere. It's a sponsorship project that helps girls like Daisy and her sister Savannah, and a couple of other girls, so Lucy Curtis and Chloe Gleason this season. And I come to as many races as I can, but it's getting a little bit more difficult. And yeah, just trying to support the girls, keep them racing, and see how far they can go, and try and bring on some new talent as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been running around like a madman over the last couple of months. Again, we've not seen you. So was it Clay Pigeon?
Clay Pigeon.
Yeah, also, it's been a long old time since you've been back. But I'm assuming you've just been enjoying yourself here, catching up with faces, getting ready to go racing for the final time in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, like with the other girls, they're racing on bigger tracks now that they're older. So I've been to Donington. We were at Alton last week because Lucy had a wild card in the British Talent Cup, and she did amazing. And yeah, so with that and FAB, we are all over the country, but it's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
And anything to say to anybody at home who maybe, has a young girl themselves, or, is a young, possibly female rider in the future, and they're looking for maybe a bit of support, what would you say to them?
Absolutely give it a go. I know M4 karting racing, they've got the grassroots academy going on. I think that there's very limited space left, but that's a great way to start for the little ones. And any girls that are out there racing, get in touch with me. We'll promote your race season, and yeah, just tag us and everything, and we'll help as much as we can.
Sounds brilliant. We'll let you get on with your day. Lauren, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Bye.
Great to hear Lauren again. Have we spoken to you yet? No, we have. Oh, no, we're going to go around this way, in fact, so there are a few people up.
This part is like really tight, like the section over there, so...
Still, it sounds like you're enjoying yourself though so far. What's the game plan this weekend? Go out, just have some fun, end the season on the high note? You're here to win.
I'd say top 5. So I'm 4th in the championship, hopefully, so far. So I'm going to look for a top 5 this weekend.
Well, we'll have to see how you go. And then 2026, any plans in place yet?
I think I'm just going to do the 50s still, so no 70s, just 50s and 50Rs.
Well, look forward to having you back next season. Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can maybe squeeze up here and poach somebody from the corner. I obviously don't want to get in the way of the pit exit, but I want to see, and I can see that Lee Klaus is hiding from me, and I'm going to go and run and talk to her. Come here, Lee. I guess we're not speaking to Lee Klaus then. Of course, our flag marshal here at FAB-Racing. Is there anybody else over there at least? I don't think so. I know that Sarah Harris won't really fancy a word, of course, running the Sarah Harris Race School. No, looks like it's all quiet over here after Lee's run a country mile. Lee is very lovely, I can assure you, but she clearly just doesn't want to speak to me today. Yeah, let's head back down into the paddock, though, see what else is going on. I know a lot of the senior Minimoto guys have come back in. There's one particular senior Minimoto rider who's, I guess he's making a wildcard appearance this weekend that I do want to speak to. So let's see if we can poke our head into the orange Birkin awning, because he is amongst this lot. All right, gents. Hello. How are we all doing? Where's Chris gone? Because I was more really looking for him, to be honest, but... Oh, that's annoying. Well, I can speak to you now that we're here if you want anyway. Oh, go on then. How we doing, Callum White? You all okay?
All right, thank you. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How's bike feeling?
Not too great. That home straight's just killing it, I think.
Well, it's one of them things, isn't it? And I guess as well, you've got this awkward kind of middle section now as well, where you're going up the hill. Probably doesn't help.
No, it's a strange one with the gearing, really. I don't know really which way to go.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. But still, you excited for the last round of the season?
Yeah, I'm ready for the break, though.
Well, Christmas break, go on holiday somewhere nice, then come back, do it all again next year.
And save some money.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, we'll leave you boys be then, because you'll seem hard at work, but thanks for talking to us, Cal.
Thank you very much.
See you later, boys. We'll have to try and find Chris Wells somewhere else, because it sounds like he's gone out on his pit bike. But yeah, Chris Wells he's on a senior Minimoto this weekend. He's on Josh Birkin's. Again, Josh Birkin doesn't really race anymore, former senior Minimoto champion, due to his fiancée not liking it. Same apparently has also now happened to Reece Gentry as well, who is here this weekend, the 100. Apparently his fiancée also doesn't like it either. So there we go, we'll leave it at that. Let's head over to these guys over here, see if anybody fancies a quick chat. He looks like he's heading out, so we'll let him go. How you doing, mate? You okay? Anybody fancy a quick chat? Yeah. Gordon, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you. You?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. For the viewers at home, what's your name, what you're racing in?
I'm Michael Med, and I'm racing 212 in Extreme 200 class.
Thanks for talking to us, Michael, really appreciate it. Back at Three Sisters then, you feeling excited?
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favourite tracks, as long as it stays dry. I don't like the wet, but it is pretty grippy here in the wet. But yeah, I'm just coming to have a go. Hopefully try beat some of these kids that are rapid.
And that's the thing, isn't it? There are some kids here that are really, really fast, yeah. But still, here to have fun that's always a positive, isn't it?
All we do it, Pop. Just to come have fun and make sure I can get to work on Monday.
I mean, yeah, have fun and don't get hurt is probably a good game plan going into it. But even then, are you aiming for anywhere particular to finish, or again, is it just going out there? It's time on the bike.
I'd say it's only the second round of FAB I've done this year, so I'm just coming to have a go and see how I do, basically. Obviously, we all want to win, but I think it's a tall order racing some of these kids on these metric kits, because, as I said, they are the stars of the future and they're rapid.
Well, you know, it's racing and anything can happen.
Anything can happen. You've got to stay on to win, so hopefully I stay on. That's the main goal.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for talking to us, Michael.
Thank you.
Anyone else while we're here fancy a little chat? What's your name, buddy?
Rex Almond.
Great to talk to you, Rex. How are you feeling coming into the weekend?
Quite confident.
Yeah, quite confident is good. Feeling fast?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. And what are you racing in this weekend?
The 50RR.
Also, what's it like being out there at Three Sisters on a 50R bike? Because obviously they're quite fast.
Yeah. Quite like powerful, quick. Just loving it, really.
But you know, you sound like you're confident every time you get on one. There's no worry or anything.
Yeah. Just have fun. Just ride.
And it's the last round of the season as well, so I guess you're just here to have some fun as well.
Yeah, really. Just first time doing this track of like how it's laid out, and just got to get used to it, really.
Do you like this layout, or do you prefer the bigger one?
I've never really tried this layout, but I think I'll probably prefer the bigger one. But just this track, never tried it, so.
It is what it is, I suppose. Thanks so much for talking to us, Rex.
Thanks.
Anybody else while we're here? Go on, you know you want to. And what's your name, young man?
Thomas Med.
Thomas, great to speak to you. How are you feeling on this grey Friday here at Three Sisters?
Quite good. Just come here to hopefully get top 5.
Yeah, top 5's pretty big going. You know, it's a big track though, but anything can happen as well. So are you aiming for podiums within that top 5, or if you finish 5th place, you're the happiest man on earth?
Aiming for top 3.
I mean, everyone's really aiming for top 3, aren't they? But still, how does the bike feel out there? Does it feel good?
Yeah, well, I've just had my suspension redone, so it should be good.
So, changes make progress, as they say. And you're hoping it's a step in the right direction. Any plans for the winter, moving on to next year? Is there anything that's been confirmed yet, or are you just all looking forward to the break, then moving forward later?
I think we're going to do Stretton winter and then 160s again next year.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks for talking to us, Thomas.
Thank you.
Great to hear from Thomas Smed there. I will pass the microphone back over to my colleague in Izzy Higgs, and we'll continue on walk round.
Thank you very much, Ross. Now, walking towards us, I can see Mr. Rob, and he's just disappearing. Doesn't really fancy an interview with us today. But let's have a look, see who else we can find. Let me have a look. Heading up now, we're getting to the top of the paddock. There feels like there's a little bit of spitting in the air, which will prove quite interesting if it does rain again. Obviously, at the last round, we had lots and lots of rain. And it proved difficult for a lot of the riders, but everybody still kept going, kept on their bikes. We had a few crashes here and there, but everybody's back again this weekend and ready to get going again. Let's have a look, see if we can find any of our riders. It looks like there's a bike just being worked on here. I wonder what's going on there. I think just testing everything, but we'll keep heading up, see who else we can find. But like we've said, it is our last weekend here at FAB. It's been an absolutely brilliant season so far for everyone. Last round, we have got a few championships left to finish, like the Pit Bike 140, so we can see some of our riders having a bit of fun here. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Anybody up for a quick interview? Stop bouncing for a minute. Yeah? We can stay here, mate. Okay. Cooper, how are we?
Good. Yeah, I'm enjoying this weekend for the last race of the season.
And obviously we've got a new circuit, new track layout. How have you been finding that?
I've been finding it good because I think it's very smooth, and I like where most of the corners you can get loads of speed and just yeah.
So having fun this weekend then, yeah?
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun because the only reason why I wanted to come here is to have fun and to try my hardest.
Exactly. And how has your season gone for you overall? How have you been feeling?
I've been feeling quite well because I started last September, so I haven't really even done it for a year. So I think I'm doing quite well for how long I've been doing it for.
Yeah, and this weekend, where are you hoping to finish in your championship, finish in your races?
I'm hoping to finish third because I'm quite confident in myself and I think I've got the guts to push myself more.
And have you got any thoughts on what your plans are going to be for next year yet? What you're going to be doing over the winter break?
Well, what I'm going to be doing over the winter break is probably training on a geared bike, so ready for the next season. But yeah, just going to be practicing and trying to get better over the winter.
Well, good luck, Cooper, for this weekend, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Now, let's see. Anybody else want an interview? Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Now, remind us of your name and what you're racing in.
Jensen. My name's called Jensen Brown, and I'm in AC40 Rookies.
Jensen, obviously Rookies, so it's been your first year in FAB. How have you found it this year?
Good. The track's amazing. I just did 56 seconds, my fastest time, and I'm on pole.
Well, that is really, really good to hear. Obviously, we're running a new layout here this weekend. You've just done your fastest lap. Are you feeling pretty confident then this weekend?
Yeah, I hope we win it.
That's good. And how has your season been overall?
It's been fun. And I love coming.
And do you have any thoughts on what you're going to do next year yet? Or are you just having some fun and then you'll think about it over winter?
having fun and think about it at the winter.
Well, good luck for this weekend, Jensen. Have fun at the last weekend.
Thank you.
On the road to MotoGP and the feeder series to the British Talent Cup and Red Bull Rookies. This is FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship. Title decider.
Good afternoon. Yes, it is a Friday. Yes, we are live here for the final round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. And once again, we are here at Three Sisters, but on the Valley circuit this time for all 30 races. Same track for the Minimotos and the gearbox bike, and a little bit of a change-up from that which came before at the last round. But this first race we're getting off to is set to be an absolute scorcher. It's the AC40 Inters, and Finley Styles just needs to outscore Nelly Nuth by 6 points in this race to be champion. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Izzy Higgs back alongside me in the commentary box. Izzy, what a way to start the final round of FAB-Racing here. Arguably the biggest championship we've had all season long, with millions of eyes all over it, and it all potentially comes down to this.
Yeah, definitely, Ross. This has been one to watch. Nelly, not been the best of seasons for her, but we will have to wait and see how she does this weekend. They're just coming out on their sighting lap at the moment, and then we will have the first race of the final weekend underway for this year. Let's just run through our starting grid for this race. Starting on pole position, we do have Nelly Nuth. In P2, we have Noah Barfoot. P3, Finley Styles. P4, James Dermott. P5, Randy Carter. P6, Austin Baton. P7, Daisy Grayson. And rounding out our grid, starting in P8, is Zach Athasic. So pretty small grid for these guys this weekend. But that just means we're in for a whole lot more interesting racing. And everybody for all races this weekend are running a slightly different layout of the circuit from last time. So all of our Minimotos and geared bikes are all going to be on the same track.
Absolutely. Championship-wise, Finley Styles, a 45-point advantage ahead of Nelly Nuth. He needs to outscore Nuth by 6 points, get it to 41 to claim the championship. The number 19 of Finley Styles cannot go to 50 and take it here. Nuth has more wins. She will stay in the championship fight on countback. Nuth as well, starting from pole position after a real downturn in form. A lot of issues with the Blatter Minimoto machine underneath her. Hopefully they have all been sorted. We know that the work has been put in on the bike. Styles needs to outscore Nuth by 6 points to take it in this one. Lee Clowes, our flag marshal, gets ready to send them on their way. The AC40 Inters, race one of the final round is go. Great start there from Nelly Nuth from pole. Little bit of a disappointing getaway from the number 19 of Finley Styles, Barfoot, who's been really quick the last couple of rounds, potentially challenging for the lead at the inside of the second corner as they come into Luna Bend now for the opening time before they start lap one proper. When they come to the timing beam, it is Nuth that holds a slim advantage. Barfoot starting to lead with her as well. Finley Styles will be disappointed with that getaway.
He definitely will, Ross. They're just coming past now, past our timing section, but it is Nelly Nuth who leads ahead of Noah Barfoot, with Finley Styles running in P3 at the moment, with Randy Carter in P4. Randy Carter hot on the tail of Finley Styles, but Nelly Nuth, she's got a lead now in this race. Noah Barfoot, there's a bit of a gap bridging between them now. Nelly looks to be really comfortable on her bike at the moment compared to what we've seen over the last few race weekends from her. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens, because it could come down to the final race this weekend.
Could well do so. Just been told on our ear, race control are looking at the start of the number 69. That's Randy Carter. Believe he may have got away a little bit too keenly there. Potentially a penalty heading his way. Disappointing way to start the weekend as well. Now, look at the run there from Finley Styles on Noah Barfoot. Will have to go the long way round, but gets it confirmed before they come down to the opening turn and onto the infield section before you take the sudden left, which the Minimotos weren't used to. Up and over over around the Supermoto course and then down into Lucy's Valley, and Joey Dunlop corner don't want to hit that left-hand side curb on a Minimoto with no suspension. It will send you skywards. Now back down the pit straight and into Paddock Bend we go. Finley Styles starting to get a move on. If he wins this race and Nelly Nuth comes home in second, it does go down to race number 2, but it'll be 50 points. And the only way Nelly Nuth can take it at that point is 2 Styles DNFs across the rest of the weekend and 2 victories for herself.
Yeah, definitely, Ross. But Noah Barfoot does look to be going to be putting the pressure on Finley Styles now. But Randy Carter there, just a clean move there past Noah Barfoot up into P3 of this race. Nelly Nuth, though, she seems to be back this weekend and back with a bang. She's had that pole position from qualifying. She got that good start to the race. This is the Nelly we know and love.
Absolutely. A lot of technical issues over the last couple of months as well for the number 44 machine, which hopefully seems to be fixed. It's the same motor she's been running, different chassis, different frame for the bike though. So essentially it's brand new. And looking like it's suiting her much better at the moment. Fastest lap so far, Finley Styles in P2 of 52.787. Let's see if anybody can challenge that lap time. But there you see our 2 championship contenders. Nuth, the 44, up in P1. Currently running in second in the title race. If they finish as they do now, the gap goes down to 40 points. If they swap, it's a 50-point split. But it does go to race 2 due to Nuth having more wins on countback as it stands. Coming back through to Lucy's Valley once again, past the Supermoto course, and then down the hill into Joey Dunlop corner and back onto the pit straight. Styles looks like he's certainly got the pace to be pressuring Nuth. I'm not quite sure if at this phase of the race though, with 6, soon to be 5 laps left to go, he quite has it in him to get through currently.
Yeah, it doesn't look so at the moment, but as we learned at this circuit last time round, you don't really know what's going to happen here at Three Sisters. It is pretty unpredictable. But Finley Styles, he's just working on that pace, getting those fastest laps in, making that gap between him and Nelly shorter, down to just 0.228 seconds separating these guys now, running in first and second. But Randy Carter there has flown up past Noah Barfoot, but from our timing sheet it does look like he did receive a bit of a penalty from that start.
Yeah, Carter P3 on the road on the timing screen, down to P6. That will have been a jump start penalty for the 69, so confirmed by race control. But he's going to be challenging the number 19 of Finley Styles regardless. Again, he may not know that he jumped the start. He may think he's in the clear. It's part of the nature of bike racing, especially at this level, I suppose. You've got no digital dash that pops up telling you you've got a penalty, even if some people now do have digi-pit boards, which, quite frankly, what are you doing, guys? It's FAB-Racing, not MotoGP. But we'll move on anyway. Race number 1 of the Brits and Electrical Services AC40 Inter. 4 laps left to go. Nuth leads from Styles. If they finish as they do, the gap in the championship goes down to 40 points in race number 2 later on today. But it is still advantage Styles in the title picture. Nuth, the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup champion from last year, also the House of Moto All-Female Ryder Cup champion, and set to take that this year as well. Of course, the first and only grassroots bike racing all-female competitor cup, which is taken from all classes. Nuth set to take her second year in a row in that class. As we push round to Luna Bend, though, soon to be 3 laps left to go. Top 3 on the road, all very, very close together. Of course, we've got to consider Randy Carter in reality is P6 with that penalty already applied. But the likes of Nuth and Styles won't know that. They'll still be feeling that pressure from behind.
Absolutely they will. Nelly's got to be really cautious here because she knows that she's under pressure from Finley and that is her biggest competitor, but she will also have that pressure of Randy to deal with as well on the road if Styles keeps going as he is and manages to just get that move past her. We've got just 3 laps left to go now. They are just coming down past our commentary box and there is nothing between these guys at the moment. The gap between Nelly and Finley down to 0.141. We are watching our battle now for P4 and P5, but because of Randy Carter's penalty, P3 and P4. That's between the 100 of Austin Baton and the 36 of Noah Barfoot. Barfoot not having the best of races in this first one of the weekend for him. He seems to be struggling just a little bit there, but it is Austin Baton who leads ahead of Noah Barfoot at the moment. We've got 2 laps left to go, but like I was saying, Barfoot not the best start to the weekend for him.
Yeah, it was a fast charge from the green flag at the start from Barfoot, but unfortunately just fading back a little bit in the race. You've got to wonder if these guys know they're fighting for a podium place as well, because maybe if that was online, Barfoot would be able to just find something a little bit more inspired. Nuth taking that wider line into turn 2 that she knows she likes as they go onto the Rochester straight. She really loves just carrying so much speed into a corner. Finley Styles still hot on her heels though as they come around Luna Bend to make it one more lap to go. Can Styles get by and give himself the biggest advantage in the championship? Can Nuth bring the gap down ever so slightly and take her first race win this year in quite some time? As they come to the Supermoto course on the run down into Lucy's Valley. Looks like Styles more preoccupied with Randy Carter behind. That may give Nelly Nuth a little bit of breathing room over the last half of this lap.
Yeah, absolutely, and it does seem to be that way. That does seem to be a bit more of a gap forming between them. Nelly Nuth comfortable out front. She's got that little breather. She's not under as much pressure at the moment because Styles is under so much pressure from Randy Carter on the track at the moment. But Nelly Nuth coming round through Luna Bend now. She, like Ross was saying, she's going to be taking her first race win in quite some time for this season, and that is the checkered flag, and it is Nelly Nuth who takes the first race win of this weekend for the AC40 Inters. Brilliant performance from her. That's going to give her a bit of a confidence boost that she needs going into the rest of the weekend. Huge statement from the 44 champ. Nelly Nuth, after months of machinery struggle and poor form, is back on top in the FAB-Racing AC40 Inter Championship, brought to you by Britain Electrical Services. And what a time to do it as well, as she brings the gap down to 40 points. And maybe, just maybe, puts a little bit of pressure into the mind of second place finisher, championship leader, Finley Styles. It is Nelly Nuth that takes the win from Finley Styles in P2. Randy Carter, despite that penalty, was so far ahead of those behind. He did actually end up finishing on the podium, set the fastest lap on the last tour at 52.128 for him. Austin Baton was P4 with Noah Barfoot 5th. James Dermott P6, Daisy Grayson 7th, and Zach Athasic in P8. That is your list then for race number 1 of the AC40 Inters, brought to you by Britain Electrical Services. Championship gap at still advantage Styles. They're heading into race 2, 40 points separating them. Coming up now, we've got the second race of the day here. It is the AC40 Rookies Cup. Now, these guys are our fresh faces to the sport. Their first season for a majority of them this year. But let's have a little look at how our grid's going to be forming. Starting in pole position, we have Jensen, Brown, P2, Van Morris, P3, Logan, Paisley, P4, Chase Carter, P5, Oakley Hipwell, P6, Caden Bailey, P7, William Skingle, P8, Vinnie Glosser, P9, Jackson Say, P10, Casey Reeson, P11, Louis Wood, P12, Adele Everett, P13, Theo Tyler, P14, Keely Bailey, P15, Tyler J. Windard, P16, Oscar Bond, P17, Izzy Cook, P18, Jack Irwin, and in P19, rounding out our grid, it is Bobby Baker. Now, a big grid we've got for these guys this weekend. I think one of the bigger ones we've had of the season, I think, Ross.
Well, it just goes to show that the first step into bike racing, it's got such a strong future, because we've got 19 here, and again, this is the road to MotoGP, the road to the British Talent Cup, etc, etc. If you want to get your start in British bike racing, this is where you do it. It just goes to show that this sport is looking healthier than ever. Shame there's a few people a little bit out of position. I would have expected Keely Bailey and the likes of Theo Tyler to be a bit further forward. Oscar Bond as well. I'm sure he'll be looking to shake, not stir up the competition. But as we're coming into this one, it is time to get going in race number 1 of the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup at the final round of the 2025 season. Last few checks there from our roving marshals in the yellow high-vis. They are, of course, parents typically from within the FAB Racing paddock that lend a hand for our junior racers to make sure we can go racing as safely as possible. A big thank you to them and all of the orange-clad trackside marshals as well for all of their support and enabling us to go racing in the first place. As our flag marshal Lee Clowes gets ready to send us on our way. A few last-minute checks. She'll come to the side of the grid, raise the green flag, and when it drops, it's time to go racing here for race number 1 in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. The green flag does drop and we get going. Good start there from Jensen Brown. Van Morris also away well. In fact, most people from the front of the grid look like they're holding the status quo at the moment as they head through Paddock Bend and down the Rogerson Straight for the first time. Of course, they have to wait until after Lunar Bend to start their lap 1 proper, given the quirk of the timing being halfway around the track after the race start. But look at the lead that Jensen Brown has already. He's turned up for this weekend with some fire in his belly. It's Jensen Brown that leads them onto lap 1.
Yeah,
very big advantage.
Definitely. I mean, I spoke to Jensen Brown earlier when we were doing the paddock walk just after he'd had qualifying, and he said he was running in P1. He was on pole position. He'd been feeling really confident on the bike, and I think the start of his race for him just showed it. He was quick on the throttle and he has pulled away from everybody else and has got a really impressive gap between him and Van Morris, who's currently running in second. 1.204 seconds separating those two. So Jensen Brown has come into this final weekend feeling really, really confident, and it's absolutely brilliant to see from him. But currently we've got Jensen Brown running in P1, Van Morris in P2, Chase Carter P3, Logan Paisley P4, and Oakley Hipwell currently running in P5. On our screens at the moment we can see the 45 of Chase Carter running in P3 and the 25 of Logan Paisley running in P4. That's a little battle we've got going on there.
Absolutely. Oakley Hipwell not too far away from them either in P5. And then another battle behind that lot as well. You've got Caelan Bailey facing off against the Scottish rider, the 74 of William Skingle. So lots of action everywhere you look. And again, it's one of them things that as we come through, it's one of them things where there's so much action everywhere you look out there through the field. Of course, just want to quickly point out as well, the number 5, Jack Irwin, making his FAB-Racing debut this weekend. Another member to the Irwin family, Andrew Irwin, the BSB rider. He's here this weekend supporting his nephew, and we did have a quick chat with him. He led some of the junior riders round on a track walk yesterday as well. It's been great to have him, and it's great to see the family legacy continue as they add another one to the collection, it would seem.
Yeah, exactly, and it's brilliant to see the support from those guys running in British Superbike for our guys here. Like we always say, this is the road to MotoGP. This is where you want to start your racing career. Some of our British Superbike riders at the moment started out in FAB. I did mention it on our paddock walk earlier, but like Brad Ray, Kyle Ride, they began their careers here with us at FAB-Racing.
No, sorry, carry on.
It's all right, Russ. But we've got just 6 laps left to go. That is one of our back runners at the moment. That is the 146 of Bobby Baker that we see everybody appears to be lapping at the moment. Perhaps he does have an issue, or perhaps because it's his first weekend, he is just getting a feel for how it is on the bike and how it is going around the track and actually being involved in a race.
I mean, I have ridden a Minimoto now. I can tell it's a lot harder than it looks. 6 laps left to go in this one. Jensen Brown still leads ahead of Van Morris, Chase Carter, rounding out your top 3. But as you were saying, Izzy, I mean, this is the place to be if you want to get your start in bike racing. Again, we've got the BSB finale coming up next week. Of course, going to be a bit interesting as we head to Brands once again. But, you know, everyone who's fighting for that, or everyone who is in the showdown in the first place, all coming from FAB-Racing. We've got everybody in the last couple of years who's gone up to MotoGP have all come from FAB-Racing. Similar story with World Superbikes. Anybody who's anyone in British bike racing all got their start here in the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Championship. So if you yourself are sat at home, got a young one, or maybe if you're an older rider, you fancy just giving it a go anyway, rekindling those dreams when you were playing MotoGP 4 on the PlayStation as a kid, head over to the website, see what we're going to be doing in 2026, because unfortunately you can't join in anymore this year because it's the last round. But next year, there'll be plenty more FAB Racing coming your way, I am sure. 5 laps left to go then. That looks to me like that is the 171 of Jensen Brown. Just wait to confirm that is across the line. Yes, it is. That is your race leader. Makes it 4 to go. Fastest lap as well, a 56.935. And he has got a 5.5 second lead ahead of Van Morris. Yeah, Jensen Brown clearly had his Weetabix this morning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a joke about Weetabix at the last round. We said a couple of our riders really took their Weetabix and just absolutely flew, especially in the conditions we faced last time here. But that's also something that's been really interesting to see. Obviously, we are just 2 races in, but from speaking to the riders from their practice yesterday, qualifying this morning, they did say that they're finding it a lot nicer to ride around in the dry this track. I mean, we did have some pretty rough conditions last time round, but at the moment we have got just 4 laps left to go. Our race leader, Jensen Brown, a 5.687 second lead ahead of everybody else. I do believe that is him we are seeing just coming over the line again to make this just 3 laps left to go. And yes, it is. He's just absolutely flying. And it's really nice to see that our riders are building up their confidence in this rookies class and really are going to be pushing themselves over winter break as well to see if they could move classes potentially for next season.
I'm sure a lot of these guys we'll be seeing up in the Inters in 2026. There's a bit of commotion down in the pit lane. I think the 77 of Theo Tyler's coming with a problem, but I think he may have got going once again, but it has dropped him down to 17th place. But as I was literally just saying, if you want to get involved, head over to the FAB-Racing website to see how you can get your start here in 2026. But yeah, 3, soon to be 2 laps left to run here, and look at the confidence there from the 171 of Jensen Brown round the outside of lap traffic at Luna Bend. I mean, it's just a nice chill Friday afternoon ride for the kid, isn't it? But at the same time, he's dominating race number 1 in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and something you just said, I don't know how much of a difference it'll make, but we are racing on a Friday. Normally we start on a Saturday, so most people got here yesterday on a Thursday. We're racing today on a Friday. I don't know, maybe that's potentially something to do with it. It sent us a bit confused up here in our commentary box. We're like, what day is it again? We don't normally do this on a Friday. But on our screens, our race leader, Jensen Brown, 2 laps left to go. Absolutely soaring ahead of everybody else, but the gap between him and Van Morris has reduced a bit, down to 2.865 seconds. So either Jensen Brown is just taking it easy a little bit, or Van Morris is pushing himself on his bike.
Maybe a bit of traffic getting involved as well. There's so many different factors we have to consider in here. Either way, it is still Jensen Brown that leads as he does start the final lap here in race number 1 of the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. And actually, Van Morris now has dropped down to 3rd place as they've come across the line. So he's gone from gaining on Jensen Brown to dropping 2.5 seconds behind Logan Paisley. So I can only assume it's getting a bit chaotic out there with the lap traffic. Of course, no blue flags here in FAB-Racing. You have to get through back markers on your own accord, and it can really scupper your chances if you catch somebody in a bad position out on the racetrack. It can really take hold. But coming through Paddock Bend and onto the Rogerson Straight for the final time is the 171. What a dominant performance it's been.
Absolutely, Ross. Really dominant performance from Jensen Brown. A brilliant start to his race weekend here at Three Sisters. He's just coming around into those final corner now. The checkered flag is waving, and it is Jensen Brown who takes the first race win in the AC40 Rookies Cup of the weekend here at Three Sisters. A brilliant performance from him. Brilliant lead ahead of everybody else. This is the stuff you really like to see from these riders.
What a fantastic ride that is from Jensen Brown. Ride mature beyond his years. And that is surely evidence that he'll be trying to make his way up, surely into the Inters class for the next season. Anyway, it is Jensen Brown that takes the win from Logan Paisley. Van Morris bizarrely drops down to 3rd at the end of that one. Hopefully everything okay on board the number 43 machine. Oakley Hipwell is 4th with Chase Carter P5, Caden Bailey in P6, William Skingle is 7th with Louis Wood in P8, Vinnie Glossop 9th, and Casey Reeson rounding out our top 10. They were followed by Del Everett, Jackson Say, Keely Bailey, Oscar Bond, Tyler J. Windard, Izzy Cook, Theo Tyler, Jack Irwin, and Bobby Baker, our 19th and final rider out there. As there you can see, taking the plaudits from the paddock, the 76 of J King, getting photos for all the social media, looking like the real Slim Shady with his new hair as well. I'll leave that one there. But what a race we have just seen there, and a dominant performance in the 171 of Jensen Brown. And with 2 races to go till the end of the season, Brown will be looking to try and repeat that, end his year on a high, and then come back into 2026, hopefully with full guns a-blazing. But there we go then, that is it for race number 1 of the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. We are scheduled to have this as one of our race 2s that we're supposed to have on later on today. We tried to do a similar thing in the last round though, and unfortunately due to a couple of delays, it didn't happen. So touch wood, but maybe race 2 later, maybe not. Just stay tuned in.
And now we have got our 3rd race of the day. We have got the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. Starting in pole position, we have Jensen Sedras on an LC40 Elite. Starting P2, we have Finley Styles. P3, Reed Saxelby. P4, Freddie Taylor. P5, Danny Longhurst. P6, Joey Atasic. P7, James Dermott. P8, Claudia Dudman. P9, Cooper Say. And P10, Ethan Bayliss. Now, in our battle for the LC40s, it has been between Jensen Strass and Maxwell Keats all season, but we got no Maxwell Keats this weekend.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those ones where the second the green flag drops, Jensen Sedras is champion, because regardless of result, I mean, he technically doesn't even have to enter the race because Maxwell Keats is here, no one else can hatch him, so Sedras is going to win the title. And theoretically, the second the green flag drops, he will have done it because the race has started and Maxwell Keats then can't catch him because, you know, Maxwell Keats could also turn up for race 2 or 3 or whatever, but even then it's still not going to be enough because the gap is 70 points. If it's above 50 at the end of race number 1, that's it, done and dusted. So the second the green flag drops, Jensen Sedras will be your LC40 Elite champion, which is a bit of a shame. It's a bit of an anticlimactic way to end the season. And I'm sure he would have liked to have gone out with a fight as well. It has been a fantastic battle all season long. Regardless, he's been brilliant on that number 2 machine, but again, I'm sure he'll be a little bit disappointed that it's getting wrapped up in this anticlimactic manner. So we wait to crown him a king, I suppose. Finley Styles on the front row with him. Keep your eye on him, he'll be fast on that number 19 machine. Last little check there for Sedras with his dad as the roving marshal in the yellow. It's not a high vis, but it's bright yellow, so I guess it counts. And then it'll be Lee Clowes walking backwards over to the green flag. When that drops, we go racing for race number 1 in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elite. It's a disappointing getaway from your new LC40 Elite champion. Jensen Sedras can only go backwards. I believe it's Reed Saxelby that got away there in front ahead of Finley Styles. And yes, it was. Wow. A bizarre twist of events there. Congratulations to Jensen Sedras, but that was not a good start from him.
No, not the greatest start for him at all, Ross. But Finley Styles at that start there, Reed Saxelby just flew past Jensen Sedras. He was like, well, you're not moving, I'm moving. Beep, beep, out of my way, I want to get racing. And that is exactly what Reed Saxelby did. But Finley Styles, he had a bit of a lift there at the start of that race. He put a bit too much into that bike there and he almost struggled with his start, but he recovered really quickly from that and got away really quick. Jensen Sedras, like we said, not the greatest of starts for him, but congratulations Jensen, you are the LC40 Elite winner for this season, so that's really amazing stuff to see from you. But let's have a look how these guys are getting on. We have got 9 laps left to go. It is Reed Saxelby who leads ahead of Finley Styles, with Jensen Sedras running in P3. On our screens at the moment, we're seeing another little battle there. Just going to try and figure out who that is we are seeing, but Jensen Sedras has found his way back through again. He's got that power out of his bike again. He's found his rhythm again, and he's just absolutely flew past Reed Saxelby and Finley Styles to retake his position in P1 of this race.
Well, it just goes to show the extra grunt of the liquid-cooled Elite bike compared to the air-cooled Pro bike. In a straight line, it's no competition. And Sedras has just used that long front straight to blast on by and take back the overall lead of the race. Of course, he was still leading the LC40 Elite, or the LC40 Elite class. with the only other rider out there being Claudia Dubman, who's down in P8 overall. But still, P3 overall. And on an LC40 Elite bike, it's not a great look. We've got some big battles further back as well. Had another message through from race control reminding marshals not to signal at the side of the racetrack. So race control have seen somebody communicating something to one of the riders out there. That is very much forbidden here, and they're clearly not happy. So a big no-no there. Little look to the inside, maybe. That is a very nice move there, it must be said, from Joey Athersic getting through. I believe that was Freddie Taylor who's just got through, and yes, it was. Nice stuff there from Athersic to slide on by and to get into third place in the AC40 Pro class as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it must be said, though, our leader of the championship for the AC40 Pros isn't with us this weekend. So what we're seeing so far is that we have got a couple of riders missing this weekend, but when we did our paddock walk earlier, everybody else was just saying they're just here to have a bit of fun this weekend. Yes, they've still got some battles going on, but they are just looking to have some fun, find their rhythm on the bike, get used to this new layout of the track, and really just have fun with each other. But there we can see a little battle there between the 67 of Joey Athersic and the 118 of Freddie Taylor. The 67 of Joey Athersic back through on Freddie Taylor. Bit of a cat and mouse game going on with these guys at the moment. The 26 of Danny Longhurst just behind them there. She could be looking to get involved with the battle at some point in this race. I mean, we do still have a 6 laps left to go, but look at that. The 118 of Freddie Taylor went to make a move then, but couldn't quite get enough out of the throttle to do so. Yeah,
really entertaining battle, this one. As it stands, Joey Athersic is holding on to that final class podium position, with it for dear life, essentially. But Freddie Taylor, Danny Longhurst right there with him, nearly 3 abreast as they come up the main straight and into turn number 1. No one quite makes a move on that occasion, but again, you can tell that the likes of Taylor and Longhurst testing the waters as they come past the Supermoto track and down through Lucy's Valley and then into the Joey Dunlop corner before getting back onto the pit straight. A little bit more of a gap on this lap as they come through, as it looks like it's still Cedras who leads overall, and of course leading the way in the LC40 Elite race up the front, but still really, really tight between Cedras, Saxelby and Styles. That battle between the front 3 out there on the racing surface. Taylor maybe trying to mount pressure now on Athersic. Can he get the run out of Luna Bend and up the main straight for a go into turn number 1? He'll certainly be trying to get the toe, as there we see swapping over to the battle for the lead in the AC40 Pro race, where it looks like Reed Sachs will be still holding on to that second place, but Jensen Cedras just in P1.
Yeah, definitely, Ross. I mean, Jensen Cedras on that liquid cool bike has still got a lead, but Saxelby and Styles are still running pretty close to Cedras at the moment. Normally in these races we will see Cedras and Keats on those liquid cool bikes absolutely just pull away from everybody else, get a lead with a few seconds between them, whereas this weekend in this first race for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites, we're seeing that Cedras hasn't quite got that big of a gap between him and the guys running on those air-cooled bikes. It's not what we would normally see from these guys, but brilliant stuff nonetheless. It is Reed Saxelby currently leading for the AC40 Pros ahead of Finley Styles. We got a bit of back traffic here for everyone to work their way through. Like Ross said during the last race, we do not have a blue flag system here at FAB-Racing. It is move out the way, please and thank you, so the others can get on past. Sometimes back traffic does cause some issues, but it doesn't look like that caused really an issue for anyone there. Jensen Cedras still leading ahead of Reed Saxelby and Finley Styles with just 3 laps left to go.
That's soon to be 2 as well, as Cedras leads them to the line. Reed Saxelby has a best finish of 2nd in class this season. It's his only podium of the year. What a story it would be if he could open up the final weekend of the season with his first race win in 2025 in the AC40 Pros. Currently 2nd on the road, maybe thinking about the overall lead on the run into Lucy's Valley, but decides to back out of it as Styles still watches on patiently like a predator stalking its prey. But can the 19 slide by the 67? Only time will tell. The two of Cedras still holding on to that lead as it stands as they make their way through Paddock Bend and now onto the Rogerson Straight. And still pushing onwards. You can see once again the extending of the gap with that elite grunt underneath the number 2. Again, he'll be looking to, well, he is already the champion technically, but we'll call it as he crosses the line. Take his championship with a win, I suppose. One final tour to go for this top 3. Jensen Cedras leads the way with now fastest lap. Reed Saxelby and Finley Styles just behind, duking it out for the AC40 Pro win.
Absolutely, but like we are just seeing, Jensen Cedras has just put in a fastest lap. We are seeing some pretty quick times from these guys around this layout here at Three Sisters. These guys on the Minimotos are really pulling a lot out of their bikes here for these last few races of the season. Jensen Cedras, our race leader at the moment, our new champion of the LC40 Elites, is just leading as he comes through into these final few corners of the track, ready to have that moment, take that winning moment. But it is Reed Saxelby, currently P2 overall, who is leading the race for the Air bikes, and it is Jensen Cedras crosses the line. He is your liquid-cooled bike leader and winner for this year.
What a performance to cap off a championship in style for Jensen Cedras. Yes, a bit anticlimactic with his main rival not here this weekend, and the second the green flag dropped, it was all but confirmed. But he is champion in 2025. Huge congratulations to Reed Saxelby, who takes his first win of the season in the AC40 Pro class, just ahead of Finley Styles, who rounds out the overall podium. And the fastest lap on the last lap from Saxelby, a 50.655, and on the last lap it was personal best from Cedras and Styles as well, and all of them were within half a tenth of each other. That is really pushing it to the very limit. But it is Jensen Cedras that takes the overall win and does confirm himself as the 2025 LC40 Elite Champion. Reed Saxelby, P2 overall, he is first place in AC40 Pro, and Finley Styles rounds out the top 3 and takes that second place in class. P4 Freddie Taylor was third in class, and then in the LC40 Elite, only 2 bikes out there. Second place goes the way of Claudia Dudman, who was P8 overall. That's it then for race number 1 of the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. 2 more races to come this season, and both of the championships now wrapped up. They're now just going out there and racing for fun.
And now we have got senior Minimotos, probably one of our craziest lot of races that we have here at FAB-Racing. Let's just run through the grid. Pole position, we have Matt Burke in P2, we have Keaton Payne, P3, Nick Bennett, P4, Chris Wells, P5, Mark Payne, P6, Harvey Jeremy, P7, Callum White, P8, George Renix, P9, Chris Yeomans, P10, Tom Burt, P11, Gary Eldridge, P12, Chris Bain, P13, Nicky Lewis. Ross, your name isn't on there. Do you fancy?
No, I didn't do qualifying.
Well,
I would have been right at the back it would have been at the back by about 18 seconds, I think. I wasn't very good, shall we say. We'll show the footage at some point, because we didn't get footage, but I was lucky enough to have a go. My first time on an actual race bike, by the way, and it was one of these things with no suspension, so no wonder I struggled. And also I'm quite lanky, so it was a bit awkward. But I did have a go in one of the practice sessions on Matt Burke in Senior Minimoto. A huge thank you to him, to Callum White for the leathers, and to Chris Wells, who's doing a wildcard appearance on the seniors this weekend as well, for the moral support. And then everybody else as well, just for letting me have a go and having good fun. Apologies for Keaton Payne for nearly killing him as well at Paddock Bend, as that sounds like someone's brought an air horn. Right, we're getting early 2000s style over here. Chris Wells has said, first of all, P4 in his first weekend on a senior Minimoto, not bad at all. He has said he's going to get the elbows out. He knows how these guys are going to race, especially P1, your new 3-time champion, Matt Birkin, who is starting to reclaim the moniker of Mr. Senior Minimoto off of the great Bernie Hook regardless. Green flag goes, we go racing for the final round of the season. Good getaway there for Keaton Payne. Nick Bennett also away well quite cleanly. Chris Wells shoved out to the inside. He'll drop a position as they come onto the Rogerson straight. Payne trying to put the pressure as Bennett tries to put the pressure on himself as well. Birkin still holding firm on the lead. Matt Birkin leads them into Luna Bend and will surely lead them onto lap 1 proper. But we've got 6 bikes already starting to form a bit of a train here. This could be a fascinating race.
Definitely, Ross, really fascinating. I love to see these guys, how they get so tucked into their bikes on those straights before they open back up into those corners. But it is Matt Birkin who currently leads ahead of everybody else. Keaton Payne running in second and Nick Bennett in P3. Chris Wells has held on to his 4th place position. That is a really good start for him. Like you said, Ross, his first weekend on a senior mini moto bike. Brilliant stuff to see from him. I mean, we've seen already a couple of people chopping and changing in what classes they're racing in this weekend. But we were quite surprised when Chris Wells said to us, do you know what, I'm having a go on the senior mini motos this weekend. We're so used to seeing him in the pit bikes that this is really interesting to see him involved in this race here. But we are coming around now onto that finish straight. Just 8 laps left to go. Matt Birkin leads, but Keaton Payne is hot on his tail. Let's see how these guys battle it out.
Keaton Payne's second half of this year has been absolutely superb, and at the last round ended up becoming somewhat of a dark horse in the championship fight and ended up really being the main competitor in trying to keep the championship going down to the last round due to other people not being available and not racing. Unfortunately for him, it did go the way of Matt Birkin, but it was a long shot anyway. But still, the number 12 having a very, very solid run of form at the moment and thinking about taking the opening race win in the FAB-Racing finale here at Three Sisters. 7 laps left to go when they come to the line. Birkin and Payne now starting to break away from the rest of the pack. We've got Nick Bennett holding up Chris Wells for P3. Harvey Jeremy is not too far behind them either by the looks of things. And then everybody else starting to drop back just a little bit. But it's Birkin, Payne, Bennett, your top 3. There is Chris Wells, who's doing an unbelievable job out there. And that was brave down into Lucy's Valley. To be fair, he's had more time on that bike than I did, so... And again, he's also quite quick. And he's looking for the podium places. That's a lovely little pop-pass move up the inside to get it done from Chris Wells and onto the podium places. He's not been here most of this year. He's been off watching Moto GP races. He was off at the Manx Grand Prix as well and doing a road trip of the Isle of Man. But he's turned back up. He's opted on a senior mini moto for the first time and showing them all how it's done.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. It looks like either that's back traffic. Yeah, back traffic. He's just had to make his way through as well. But now it is Chris Wells running in P3 ahead of Nick Bennett. Matt Birkin running in P1 ahead of Keaton Payne at the moment. Keaton Payne, though, did just put through the fastest lap. There is nothing separating between these guys. A 0.047 gap between Matt Birkin and Keaton Payne, our race leaders at the moment. So we will have to keep an eye on them. But on our screens at the moment, that is the 62 of Chris Wells and the 711 of Nick Bennett just making their way past some back traffic at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see what's happening at the moment.
We'll keep pushing onwards regardless as they make their way through and continue to push onwards. It looks like that may be for position, actually. I believe that may be possibly Reece Gentry out there. I'll have to wait and confirm the number. Reece Gentry is racing this weekend. He's not got a number on the machinery. Either way, it's Chris Wells back up into P3. He is on Josh Birkin's bike this weekend as well, the number 5. Of course, Josh Birkin, a former senior Minimoto champion, brother of Matt, cousin to Callum White. And banned from racing because his fiancée doesn't like him. I've been told that Reece Gentry is not in this race, but he is here this weekend, so that's not Reece Gentry in P3. It may very well be Mark Payne on the number 18. Again, no number on the or no number plate on the front of that thing. Meanwhile, up the front, it's Keaton Payne who's got on by, and with 4 laps left to go as they come to the line, the number 12 now does lead this race. How does the champion respond to his young challenger? as they make their way down the straight. Then there's Chris Wells and Nick Bennett going toe-to-toe. Wells now holding on to that P3 as they make their way through the opening corner. And the rider that we believe is the 18 of Mark Payne dropping back a little bit further. It's P5. Again, no Reece Gentry in this race, although he is here this weekend. Reece Gentry, similar story to Josh Birkin. Can't race anymore because fiance doesn't like it and says no. Shock him.
Oh, dear. I mean, I would never say that.
See, I have less to lose. So.
But we can see at the moment we have 4 laps left to go. But it is Chris Wells currently running in P3 ahead of Nick Bennett in P4 on the 7-1-1. This is our battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th at the moment. But our leaders, Keaton Payne and Matt Birkin. Keaton Payne has got a gap building between him and Matt Birkin now. That number 12 leading the race, a 1.107 second gap between those two at the moment, which we will have to keep an eye on. Here it is. There is our race leader, the number 12 of Keaton Payne. Matt Birkin just coming into shot at the bottom of the screen there. Keaton Payne has worked really, really hard this season. Like we said, he's been a young challenger who has come in and really put these guys to the test, but he's performing brilliantly in this first race for the senior Minimotos. Just coming around that final few corners now to make this 2 laps left to go in this race, and it is Keaton Payne leading ahead of Matt Birkin, who is currently our championship winner for this year for the senior Minimotos. So these few races, a bit of fun for these guys, just getting their elbows out of it.
To be fair, I know Matt Birkin is feeling a little bit worse for wear today. We've all heard the stories of the Birkins staying out late into the night and singing songs. Sounds like there was a bit of that going on last night as well. I did also receive a message from him about 3 in the morning after, I put on my Instagram story about me going on his Minimoto, and he responded to me at 3 in the morning, which when I saw that when I woke up, I was like, right, maybe we're not seeing the best of Matt Birkin today. But still, as Keaton Payne, it must be said, going to lead us on to the last lap, has done a phenomenal job and again continues his incredible run of form late in 2025, and maybe, just maybe, is already starting to show how he feels and show what he thinks he can do in 2026 as well. But it's not over yet. Birkin really starting to push. Maybe he's realised it's the last lap and the champ has woken up. Can he find a way through at Lucy's Valley? Really, really tight and narrow through that part of the racetrack. As Birkin a bit wide, will have to settle for second as they go through Paddock Bend for the final time. Is there anything, anywhere for the champ? Or is the number 12 of Keaton Payne going to take yet another race win in the second half of the season? Birkin drops back. Nothing he can do at this point unless Payne makes a mistake in the final corner, which you know he's not, because he's been so calm and so composed all race long. It's the 12 who takes another win in 2025. Keaton Payne opens up the final round with a fantastic performance and beats off the champion in Matt Birkin. Chris Wells takes a podium on senior Minimoto debut. Unbelievable stuff there from the number 62. But it is Keaton Payne on top once again.
We always say, Ross, the senior Minimotos we can't predict, and we never know what to think. And Chris Wells has once again just shown that what we say there is right. Chris Wells in his first race has got a podium, but let's have a run through of our full results. We've got Keaton Payne in P1, Matt Birkin second place, Chris Wells rounding out our podium in P3, Nick Bennett P4, Harvey Jeremy comes in 5th, Tom Burt 6th, Chris Yeomans 7th, Callum White 8th, George Rennick's P9, Gary Eldridge comes 10th, Chris Bain 11th, Nicky Lewis 12th, and a DNF from Mark Payne.
You can see the congratulations that Chris Wells is getting. Everybody coming over to say well done, because they know they've seen something a little bit special there from the former Pit Bike 140 champion. His first time racing a senior Minimoto machine, and he's only gone and stuck it on the podium behind a 3-time champ and the man of the moment in form, Keaton Payne. 2 more races to come this season.
And now it is time for our premier class of racing here at FAB-Racing, the MK Mini GP 70s. Our championship winner for this class, Harrison Day, is unfortunately not with us this weekend. But let's have a run through of how our grid is forming for this race. On pole position, we have the 14 of Frankie Watson, P2, the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson, P3, the 47 of Matthew Thomas, P4, Logan Cousins, P5, Travis Shaw, P6, Sebastian Gazlowski, P7, Leo Soliu, P8, Hobby Keats, P9, Taylor Davis, P10, Kai Hawken, P11, Maxwell Keats, and rounding out our grid, starting 12th on the grid, is Bojan Lejeski.
Yeah, no Harrison Day here, of course, wrapped up the title nice and early at the previous round. And he'll be, I'm sure, looking to take his talents up into the RNG British Talent Cup next year, just like the winner of the British Talent Cup this year as well. Coming out onto the grid there, that's the number 20, Kai Hawken, who is supposed to be starting P10, may have to start right at the back, potentially. As I was saying, though, Ethan Sparks, this year's winner of the British Talent Cup. Firstly, huge congratulations in order for our back-to-back Mini GP70 champion to be the latest rider to take the RNG British Talent Cup victory. Philip Soroviak in second as well, a former rider here at FAB-Racing. And, of course, condolences to Philip for not being selected for Red Bull Rookies this year. He did make it out to the final day, but I'm sure there's plenty more in store for the future from Soroviak and Sparks, as well as our latest British Talent Cup champion to come out of FAB-Racing. I'm sure Harrison Day will be looking to follow suit next year. But with our champion not here, it's all wide open in the Mini GP70s, and it is go. Disappointing getaway there for Matthew Thomas. That's going to allow Logan Cousins to slide into P3. Frankie Watson leads, though, from the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson as they come into Luna Bend, getting ready to start their opening lap proper. And Logan Cousins looking very racy early doors here. A great start. Look at how aggressive he's getting on the throttle, the rear of the bike, moving all underneath that number 7. But it is Frankie Watson that leads them onto lap number 1. Taylor Tomlinson in P2, and now Logan Cousins in P3.
Absolutely brilliant start for Logan Cousins there to get up into P3 from beginning in P4. We've seen like two sort of breakaway groups forming here. We've got our guys running in first, second and third, and then from about 4th to 8th everyone has sort of grouped together at the moment. But must say, a fabulous start for Sebastian Gazlowski. Did start on the grid in P6, has got himself up to P5. So that's good stuff to see from him in the GP70s this weekend. His first time in the GP70s.
No, it's the first weekend he's committed to it fully. We're not doing the 50s, of course. Our 50 and 50R champion this year, who, Seb, it's been one of those riders where you always knew there was something there, but it never quite came together. That's a very brave move from the number 4 of Travis Shaw to get up past Matthew Thomas, who after a fantastic weekend last round when we were also here at Three Sisters, struggling this time just a little bit, just being told in our ear by our flag marshal Lee Clouds, the number 20 of Kai Hawken, not only was he late to the grid, also got a jump start. So that's a very, very disappointing way to start your opening final round. But yeah, Sebastian Gazlowski, he's had a great year this year, winning both the 50s and the 50R class in dominant fashion. This is the first weekend he's fully committed to the 70s. Again, just testing the water before 2026, I'm sure, and currently running in a very solid P4.
Absolutely brilliant stuff we've seen from him so far at the moment. We've got 9 laps of racing left to go in the first race of the Mini GP70s this weekend. We've got Frankie Watson leading ahead of Taylor Tomlinson, just 0.147 separating those guys running into P1 and P2 at the moment. But then we've got P3, Logan Cousins, P4, Sebastian Gazlowski, and rounding out our top 5 at the moment is the number 4 of Travis Shaw. Now, Frankie Watson, Taylor Tomlinson, Logan Cousins, Travis Shaw, and Matthew Thomas currently running in P6. Those guys really seem to have quite a strong weekend last time we were at Three Sisters. They coped really well in the difficult conditions, and we saw some really, really fun, good, gritty battles between those guys. Matthew Thomas was the one who we actually said did eat his Weetabix.
Yeah, because he actually did, coming into Sunday's action last time. We were, of course, on the full layout rather than the valley layout for these 70s machines. And obviously Matthew's mum, Louise, working over in race control and lending a hand. Of course, no bias there whatsoever, and I mean that genuinely. She does stay very neutral. Came in and we were just talking, I think, over the lunch break, and she just couldn't believe how quick her boy was going, and we were like, oh, he must have eaten his Weetabix. He literally had. He'd had Weetabix for breakfast that morning. Maybe not today as it stands. The 47 struggling a little bit here at the Valley Circuit in drier conditions than last time out. There we see our leaders, the 14 of Frankie Watson, under big pressure now from the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson. Took his first race victory last weekend in over 800 days here in FAB-Racing. Let's see if the Macarena is going to be coming back out here this weekend at the final round in 2025. Keep your eye on Logan Cousins, though. When he wants it, he can really switch it on in the fight for a lead. So that number 7, I think, is just playing the patient game currently, with soon to be 6 laps left to go.
Yeah, Logan Cousins running in P3 at the moment. He has a fun sort of position at the moment where he's got to really think, does he get involved in the battle between these two? Does he get himself a lot closer to Taylor Tomlinson and get himself involved? Or does he risk holding back? He'll probably be aware there's roughly 6 laps left to go. He'll know what's going on there, but he's got to make a decision. Do I get involved in this battle, or do I sit back and wait, see what happens between those guys before getting myself involved? Because getting himself involved at the moment could result in a bit of a collision, a crash between them all. So if he just holds back for a bit, he can see what happens between these guys.
It's a really, really tense race up the front at the moment. The 14 holding off the 77 as they start to encounter a little bit of lap traffic here at Three Sisters. Of course, not going up Coward Summit this time on the Valley Circuit. Instead, you cut back in as the 82 there, and Bojan Maleszewski getting involved. Oh, that's really brave from Watson and Tomlinson coming into Lucy's Valley. Cousins is going to get held up big time through the Joey Dunlop corner. Gives him a little wave of what are you doing, man, as he's going through as well. Cousins maybe starting to lose his cool a little bit here in Wigan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are just coming round now into Luna Bend, coming round into them final few corners. We've got 5 laps left to go, about to be 4. Frankie Watson leading ahead of Taylor Tomlinson. That back traffic there with Bojan Blachewski has given Frankie that little bit of a chance, albeit not a massive gap. He has built the slightest bit up between him and Taylor Tomlinson that he can try and push and keep building and keep growing, so that with 4 laps left to do, he's going to make sure Taylor's got a lot of work to do to try and get past him to take that first place, that top position on our podium away from him. Logan Cousins did really get held up. The gap building between those guys now. Logan's going to be really frustrated, and like you said, we saw that little wave to the rider as if to say, get out my way, what are you playing at? And he has now got to really work. Now we've got 3 laps left to go. Is 3 laps going to be enough for him to judge whether to get involved in the battle, and still confess he still has a podium position at the moment, still really good points for him, but he's just got to think about what's the best decision to make.
Frankie Watson up the front has a bit more experience on a 70 machine than Taylor Tomlinson behind, and Tomlinson committing to the 70 only this weekend as well, compared to in the past when he's ridden on 50s as well. So Tomlinson maybe just struggling a little bit more due to that. There is Matthew Thomas, who's now under big pressure from the 36 of Leo Soliu behind. This is for P6 currently. Then we go slightly further forward. There is Sebastian Goslavsky holding up the fast-charging Travis Shaw for P4 with 2 laps left to go here at Three Sisters. This race is now entering its dying phases as they come through turn number 1, then up past the Supermoto course, looking to the inside into Lucy's Valley. That would be very, very brave from the number 4 there, but stays put, holds on for the time being, tries to wait and see, smell if there's a better opportunity a little bit further up the line, or has Sebastian Goslavsky got enough in his locker to keep the number 4 of Travis Shaw behind him in this battle for P4? It is shortly going to be 1 lap left to go up the front. It is 1 lap left to go up the front, and it's still only half a second between Frankie Watson and Taylor Tomlinson.
Yeah, exactly. That number 14 of Frankie Watson, like you said, he has just that little bit more experience than Taylor Tomlinson on the number 77, but just over half a second separating these guys at the moment. With less than 1 lap left to go, we are coming down now into that final section of the track. It is Frankie Watson leading ahead of Taylor Tomlinson, with Logan Cousins running in 3rd place position. Frankie Watson on the number 14 round Luna Bend, coming into the final corner now, and he is going to cross the finish line. There it is, checkered flag, and it is Frankie Watson, the number 14, takes the first race win of the weekend for the Mini GP 70s, also putting in a fastest lap of 43.381 on that lap.
Wow, what a performance there from Frankie Watson to take another race win in 2025. Taylor Tomlinson gave it his everything, but ultimately couldn't quite get through, with Logan Cousins sitting there behind after he got held up. I think he just settled into his own rhythm, knew he wasn't quite close enough to challenge, but does hold on to P3. Sebastian Goslavsky, a fantastic job from the number 64, our 50 and 50R champion of 2025, to take P4. But it is Frankie Watson who takes victory once again in 2025. Taylor Tomlinson 2nd, and Logan Cousins rounding out the podium. Sebastian Goslavsky was 4th, with Travis Shaw P5, Matthew Thomason P6, Leo Soliu 7th, Tommy Keaton 8th, Taylor Davis 9th, and Kai Hawkin rounding out the top 10, with Maxwell Keats and Bojan Blajewski in P11 and P12. That's race 1 for the Mini GP 70 British Championship, done and dusted. Of course, your champion of 2025, Harrison Day, not here this weekend, so it's all wide open and there for the taking. They've got 2 more races to come this season.
And now we have one of our championships that we are still waiting to be decided. The pit bike 140s, they are coming out now on their sighting lap. We have got Chris Wells in pole position, Arnie Carr in P2, Harrison Quincy P3, Tommy Ullman P4, Jamie King P5, Stuart Hardman P6, Keaton Payne P7, Matthew Rayland P8, P9 Matthew McLean, and P10 Robert Leverage. Chris Wells back with us after a few weeks, well, quite a few weekends. We haven't seen him this season, like you were saying, Ross, but a battle at the moment between Harrison Quincy and Jamie King, just 45 points separating these two at the moment. Harrison Quincy starting P3, Jamie King P5, so this is going to be an interesting race, I think, Ross.
Well, as the former champion and Chris Wells turns back up and schools them all, we are still yet to decide our champion in 2025 here in the pit bike 140s. It is very much advantage Quincy, as you said, 45-point advantage, and starting P3 ahead of Jamie King's very disappointing P5 for Pit Bike Sonic. Arnie Carr there, is there an issue there with the gear selector? I think he's struggling to get into gear. Yeah, it looks like it may have now gone in. Remember, if you pull to a stop during the race here at Three Sisters, or you come off the bike, you are not allowed to remount. That includes during the sighting laps as well. But Arnie Carr on the 83 with a problem there, and it looks like he's struggling to get the thing started, let alone get into gear, but it might be okay. We're being told as well that the number 12 of Keaton Payne came off the bike in on the sighting lap. So Keaton Payne, who just finished, just won, should I say, the senior Minimoto race earlier on, he's being told, you've come off, son, you cannot start this race, and that is brutally cruel, but that's how Three Sisters works.
Yeah, definitely cruel, like you said, Ross. I mean, and Lee has to be the one to share the news, unfortunate for her, but there she is, our flag marshal. She's moving over now, getting ready to pick up that green flag and get the race underway. And it is flag up, flag down. We are racing for the pit bike 140s, and not the best to start there for Chris Wells. He had a bit of a jump there, not a jump start, but just a little bit of a struggle to get his bike properly going, which is not going to work well in his favour. But he has still held on to that race lead. But a brilliant start there from Arnie Carr, who is in P2, got really close, really running hot on the heels of Chris Wells, with Harrison Quincy running P3. Arnie Carr, is he looking to make a move? He is right up on the inside of Chris Wells, and he has done it. Right through the corner he goes there, and he's taken the lead of the race away from Chris Wells. Jamie King there also just getting back up into P4. Looks from P5 where he did start this race, but currently it is Chris Wells ahead of Arnie Carr, Harrison Quincy P3, Jamie King in P4. Our guys battling it out for the championship, running in P3 and P4 respectively.
Reminder that Quincy has to outscore King by 5 points in this race to wrap up the title in race number 1. Currently, as it stands, he is not going to be doing that with King in P4 himself in P3 as we start going on to the next lap. 10 to go. Wells to the inside of Arnie Carr, who couldn't even get it into gear on the grid, then got it into first, but now drops back down to second. The former Pit Bike 140 champion, he's turned back up this weekend and shown them all he's done. He's changed helmets since earlier as well. He's gone red this time instead of black, maybe red to show his love for Lancashire despite the Yorkshire Rose on the side of it. I guess we'll have to see as they go down into Paddock Bend. No change up the front. Quincy has now extended that gap ahead of Jamie King, who's having to go on the defensive from Tommy Ormond in P5. Again, only 9 starting this race after Keaton Payne was told to leave the grid after having a fall on the sighting. Now, look at how close it is between Chris Wells and Arnie Carr. You couldn't fit a piece of paper between them with 9 to go into turn 1, and Kari takes the lead.
These guys are really playing a cat and mouse game with each other. They're swapping and changing, playing with each other of who's going to hold on to the lead for the longest. But it is Arnie Carr who leads ahead of Chris Wells. Currently, we've got, like Ross said, we've got just under 9 laps left to go. A brilliant performance we are seeing in this race so far. Harrison Quincy, though, he is aware that Jamie King is currently running in P4 behind him. He knows he's either got to really catch up with these guys running in P1 and P2 and get involved in those battles, or he stays comfortable where he is in P3. He's got a comfortable lead ahead of Jamie King at the moment. So he's just going to have to wait and see what happens there, because he knows that if it goes into race 2, he'll have to see how that battle forms there. But just 8 laps left to go. Arnie Carr still leading ahead of Chris Wells, with Harrison Quincy in P3. Tommy Almond now in P4. He's got to move up on Jamie King. So Jamie King now running in P5. He's not going to be best pleased with that, but Arnie Carr looked like he had a bit of a struggle, bit of a bad moment there, which gave Chris Wells the opportunity to make the most of it and get back up into P1.
Yeah, just got a bit greedy on the throttle. The car lost the rear, did well to stay on 2 wheels, but did run wide and let Wells go by. But now he's going to go straight back on the attack in this fight for the lead. That's laid on the brakes. That's masterful up the inside from the number 83 to, after making a mistake just half a lap ago, reclaim this position at the front of this pack. If they finish as they do now, with Quincy in P3 and Jamie King in P5, the title goes the way of Quincy. He does have enough race wins to take it on countback over Jamie King. So even though mathematically after this race it'll be a 50-point gap, King could equal that, Quincy has too many race wins. There is nothing that Jamie King can do apart from try and finish in front of Tommy Ormond. With 7, soon to be 6 laps left to go, still we're seeing smoke out the back of that number 76 machine. That blue smoke burning on. It's been doing that for a couple of rounds now. King says he's been hesitant to change it because it feels like it's running well and it's not down on power, but still, it's a worrying sign.
Yeah, it definitely is, Ross, because if there is actually something wrong with the bike, for Jamie that's costing him, and if he's a bit cautious about changing it, well, you can understand why, because he mentioned it to us the last time we were at Three Sisters. He was like, I'm a bit hesitant to change it because the bike itself is running fine, but actually, is it with what is coming out the back of his bike? But on our screens at the moment, coming round now, we have got just 5 laps left to go when they cross the line, and it is Arnie Carr leading again ahead of Chris Wells, with Harrison Quincy in P3, Tommy Almond P4 and Jamie King in P5. The battle we are seeing at the moment between these guys is brilliant stuff there, but Arnie Carr, a bit of a jump there. It seems to be the same corner. He has that little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a bounce on the bike, which makes him struggle with that lead. But Chris Wells looking to make a move once again and see if he can get past.
Yeah, still pushing onwards is Chris Wells. As they come round Luna Bend, it's making only a handful of laps left to go now. And still waiting up the front. Wells looks to the inside. Can't quite pull the same move that Arnie Carr has on him. So the 83 will maintain that race lead. Bit of traffic now coming up in front of them. Jamie King is still in P5. Quincy is still in P3 as far as we're aware. And yes, he is. So if they stay as they do, it is Quincy who claims the crown at the end of this race. If King gets back up into P4, then it's game on, at least to race 3. But even then, it'll be a 48-point gap or something along those lines. It'll still be advantage Harrison Quincy into the final 2 races of the season.
Yeah, exactly, Ross. But these guys, our front runners at the moment, Arnie Carr and Chris Wells, really just playing a bit of a game with each other in this race. I mean, look at that. Chris Wells up on the inside of Arnie again. Is Arnie going to look and maybe a bit further around the circuit make that move himself again? So we've really just got to keep an eye on these 2 guys. But brilliant racing we are seeing from them. Chris, they're just coming down past our commentary box now. They are quick on these pit bikes. Chris Wells leading ahead of Arnie Carr. Harrison Quincy still running in P3 at the moment. A big gap between him, but it looks like Jamie King is still running in P5. They've got a bit of back traffic. They're just making their way through at the moment, but it is Jamie King is still running P5 at the moment, which means with these just a few laps left to go, Harrison Quincy will be taking that championship.
Well, it's not over until the Fat Lady sings and the checkered flag falls. Up the front, Chris Wells still holding on from the 83 of Arnie Carr as they dice their way through Lucy's Valley before the Joey Dunlop corner. Not a great exit there from Wells, but enough to hold on down the pit straight and into Paddock Bend. Now, that's a late move from Arnie Carr, who has to sit the bike up. Wells himself lucky to make that corner as the front end chattered away underneath him as they come into Luna Bend once more. Wells still holding on as Carr got anything left in his locker. King is still P5. Quincy is still P3. It's one more tour here of the Three Sisters circuit, and still as there's some back markers up in front of our race leaders who are coming through in a short moment's time, it is still Chris Wells that leads.
Yeah, absolutely. That back marker we can see on our screens at the moment is the 17 of Matthew McLean and the number 10 of Robert Leatheridge. But here we are back with our race leaders. Chris Wells back up into P1 ahead of Arnie Carr in P2. This back traffic, they've really got to be careful making their way through at the moment, but they are through quite easily now. Chris Wells leading ahead of Arnie Carr. They got really bunched up, almost running 4 on track at the same in a line then. That was really close between those guys, but now we have the checkered flag and it is going to be Chris Wells who takes it, his first race back with us here at Fab in the Pit Bike 140s. A brilliant, really gritty battle we've seen all race between him and Arnie Carr, but we'll just have to wait and see how everybody else fared. But it looks like Harrison Quincy did come in P3, but a brilliant race there we saw from everyone.
We'll have to wait for the results. We know that Wells won. Where was everybody else? We didn't see them crossing the line. Quincy, to my eyes, looks like he was P3. Jamie King, to my eyes, looks like he was P5, which means that provisionally, for the time being, Harrison Quincy is your 2025 Pit Bike 140 champion. The man who has dominated all season long does finally take the crown in race number 1 of the final round. Again, we'll have to wait for those results to be confirmed. But for the time being, to our eyes in the commentary box anyway, it is Quincy who is on top of the pit bike world in 2025.
And now coming out onto track for their first sighting lap of the weekend, we have the Mini GP 50 odds. Brilliant racing we have seen from these guys all season. But let's have a run through of the grid. Mason Frederick in pole position, Calum Ratcliffe in P2, Jensen Ansell P3, Bradley Curtis P4, Emilio Pereira P5, Rex Austin P6, Jensen Knowles P7, Max Johnson P8, Josh Perkins P9, Riley Paisley P10, P11 Daisy Polden, P12 Preston Baker, P13 Freddie Taylor, P14 Bo Morris, P15 Thomas Med, P16 JJ Manchester, P17 Joey Atasic, P18 Tommy Williams, P19 Callum Maxwell, P20 Rex Ormond, P21 Harry James, and P22 rounding out our grid is Oliver Wilson. Big grid we've got for these guys this weekend in the GP50R, Ross.
Lots of riders, lots of Metrikits and lots of Avalis. Yeah, this could be very, very interesting indeed. Again, champion Gazlowski decided to not run his Avali in this race. He's just focusing on the 70s this weekend, preparing for this next season, should I say. Of course, this is the only place to run your Avali here at FAB-Racing, so if you do have an Avali 140 or 160 and want to try yourself against the best of the best in junior grassroots British motorsport, come along, have a go, see how you match up against some of our top riders. This is, of course, the road to MotoGP. This is the way into the British Talent Cup. It's the way into Red Bull Rookies, etc, etc, etc. Riders then in the grid. Looks like we're missing somebody there. Not entirely sure who it is, but we're certainly missing somebody. It might be Freddie Taylor on the 118, I believe, to my eyes. Potentially not. We'll have to figure it out. But Lee Clowes makes the long and lonely walk with her amazingly brilliant Crocs on, because I said I wouldn't slander them. They are actually quite cool, but she has to get on her tiptoes so everyone can see. That's how many riders we have on the grid here in this race. Lee Clowes walks over to the side. Frederick from pole, Ratcliffe from P2. The green flag will rise in the air for race one. It goes down, we get away. Disappointing getaway for Ratcliffe in the second phase. Ansell does not go at all and somehow holds on to that second place, and that's just handed Mason Frederick a very, very healthy advantage at the front as his nearest rivals just reacted poorly there to the green flag going down. It will be Frederick that leads the way onto lap number one here at Three Sisters. Ratcliffe will be, or Ansell will be second, should I say. Ratcliffe will be in P3, but both of them got poor starts. They're lucky to maintain position.
Yeah, definitely, Ross. It seems like quite a few poor starts there for some of our riders. But we are already seeing, we are just coming round now. We've just technically started the first lap, because like we always say, the timing starts halfway round. But we're already seeing some groups start to form. I mean, on our screens at the moment, the 127 of Daisy Polden running P9 at the moment, leading ahead of the 30 of Josh Perkins. But an absolutely brilliant start from Mason Frederick on that number 5 bike. He got away really well. There is our race leader on our screens at the moment, coming round now to make this 10 laps left to go, with Jensen Ansell and Calum Ratcliffe following behind him in P2 and P3. So we've had Mason Frederick pull away well, get a bit of a gap start formed. Jensen Ansell and Calum Ratcliffe, they pulled away a bit. They're going to be battling out. And then from Bradley Curtis onwards, everybody really seems to be battling it out there for our remainder of our top 10.
It's Avali, Metrikit in your top 5. The 4-strokes clearly feeling a bit more racy early doors here this weekend compared to the 2-strokes. Let's see how they fare across the remainder of this race. Soon to be 9 laps left to run. Frederick a 1.2 second advantage ahead of Jensen Ansell at the line last time. We'll be coming to the line very shortly, and that'll make it a 2.1, 45.553. Only rider into the 45-second margin now. Early doors here anyway in the Mini GP50R class, so Frederick feels feisty, feels confident on that number 5 machine. Ansell and Ratcliffe also looking like they're beginning to scrap out there on the racetrack. Similar story for Curtis and Pereira, which of course is holding up those two respective riders. There's Josh Perkins on the 30, looking to the inside of Daisy Polden. Riley Paisley just behind as well. Again, a place not full of happy memories for Riley Paisley. His Three Sisters, a big crash here last year, shattering his leg. He had to go to hospital and put pins on it, but since his return at the last round, 2-3 sisters, and then here as well, he's been running really, really well, really confidently.
Yeah, he has, you're right, Riley Paisley on that number 17, running really quite stronger. But Daisley Polden here on that 127, she's leading Josh Perkins and Riley Paisley here. She's really getting involved in some battles here, and it's really great to see Daisley Polden is supported by House of Moto. You managed to speak to Lauren a bit earlier. She is running House of Moto, supporting females getting involved in motorbike championships, and it's absolutely brilliant to see. We have one of her girls at the moment, Daisley Polden, running in P9 of this race. We've got 7 laps of racing left to go now. Everybody's still that little bit closer together. Mason Frederick, a 3.4 second lead in first at the moment, ahead of the others. But Jensen Ansell and Caelan Ratcliffe, those guys battling it out for P2. Just 0.291 seconds separating those two guys at the moment. They're just coming down past our commentary box now. And Caelan Ratcliffe is really hot on the tail of Jensen Ansell. But right now, on our screens, we are still seeing the battle for P9, 10 and 11. Daisley Polden leading ahead of Josh Perkins and Riley Paisley.
El Toro, Emilio Pereira, we just saw in that P5 or P4 spot, should I say. They've swapped back around, have Pereira and Curtis, Ansell and Ratcliffe still holding status quo up in front in P2 and P3 respectively. Pereira, who's really come a long way in his first season on a gearbox bike, the bigger Grand Prix style machines, he's done superbly well, and I think there is big things in store for the future for the 31, last year's FAB-Racing Rookies Cup vice champion, in that thrilling battle with Nelly Knuth that went right down to the very final race of the season, as Ratcliffe and Ansell split the traffic either way coming into Luna Bend. 6, soon to be 5 laps left to go. Mason Frederick is going to be 4 seconds ahead when they come to the line, potentially even more. We'll wait to see what the split's going to be. 4.8, he's just put 9 tenths into them. I mean, I guess they did have traffic, but wow, Frederick really in a class of his own here in race number 1 of the weekend. Ansell and Ratcliffe still doing battle over the final podium places, though.
Absolutely, indeed. This battle is the one we want to be watching for these final few laps. Caelan Ratcliffe in P3, really pushing his bike to the limit to get on the heel of Jensen Ansell and be able to make a move on him and take that P2 position away from him. Some more back traffic they're getting caught up in at the moment. Gonna have to see who goes where. That was tricky there. Caelan Ratcliffe really had to decide whether he was going to follow Ansell up into the inside or go on the outside of the traffic, and he decided to make a move onto the outside. Didn't really affect the gap between them that much. Still 0.233 seconds separating these guys. We've got just under 4 laps left to go. A lot of interesting racing we're having happen here. I mean, on our screens at the moment, the 31 of Emilio Pereira and the 71 of Bradley Curtis, they've swapped again. So Emilio Pereira now running in 4th ahead of Bradley Curtis in 5th, but back with our guys battling it out for 2nd position. This is really, really tight between them as they come around into that final corner, and we've got just 3 laps left to go. Mason Frederick flying ahead of everybody else, 6.791 separating him and the guys running in P2 and P3 at the moment.
Yeah, flying is Frederick up the front as P2 and P3. Ansell and Ratcliffe do battle. That time through Luna Bend, Ratcliffe was able to take the more inside line, which is the preferred line. If you look at Luna Bend when they're coming through for the next time, whoa, that was a big moment there for the 272 of Jensen Knowles. The front, I think, either hit the rebound of the suspension or just suddenly gripped up. Looked like it just got really, really loose on the exit of the corner. Yeah, that was a bit of a scary moment, but still continues onwards anyway with 3 laps left to go. Yeah, you see that right-hander there just at the bottom of your picture, the final kink of Luna Bend. It's a lot tighter through there you think. And there's been a lot of kart rubber that's actually laid down on the outside of the circuit. You can see that as well as a really dark mark on the exit of the corner on the outside. You don't want to run wide there because it's a lot tighter than you think. then you're hitting the kart rubber, and then you're getting thrown off the racetrack. So you need to be careful if you're going the long way round at Luna Bend. 2 to go though. Mason Frederick 6.3 up the road. He's cleared up the front. A little bit of traffic getting in his way over the last couple of laps, which is why the gap has come down. Soon to make it one final tour though. He has dominated in this race.
Absolutely he has. Mason Frederick is really putting a show for us on in this first race for the GP 50Rs. We have just one lap left to go now. We saw the flag there, the yellow one with the black cross through it. But on our screens, our race leader, Mason Frederick, brilliant start of the race for him. Brilliant performance with him, just pulling away from everyone and keeping that gap. 7.5 seconds separating him and the guys are running behind him in second and third. Brilliant stuff. He has lapped many people, but he has got really comfortable with his race lead and is just performing superbly. He is coming around now into Luna Bend, around into these final few corners of the track, and here he comes now around that final bend. Checker flag waving. It is Mason Frederick who takes the first race win for the Mini GP 50Rs this weekend. Mason Frederick, what a show you just put on for us. Absolute domination in that race, but we'll have to see who comes in P2 and P3. Will it be Caelan Ratcliffe who gets past Jensen Ansell, or will it be, no, it was Jensen Ansell who crossed the line and took P2 with Caelan Ratcliffe in P3. But wow, what a race from these guys.
Simply superb there from Mason Frederick as Jensen Ansell and Caelan Ratcliffe round out the podium places. Bradley Curtis brings it home in P4 with Emilio Pereira just dropping behind at the line, but still a strong P5 for El Toro. Jensen Knowles was 6th with Rex Austin 7th, Max Johnson P8, Daisy Poldham P9, and Josh Perkins rounding out your top 10 at the end there. We did have everyone, all 22 did finish that race though, which is quite impressive with all due regards to, I mean, we normally see a crash here at FAB-Racing. Let's be honest, it happens, it's bike racing. But still, a brilliant performance there from Mason Frederick to take the race win. Getting ahead there, finally gets the fist bump off of Caelan Ratcliffe. As you can see, is he on cut slicks, the number 96? He is. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I can't really explain that one. Maybe they just didn't have any slicks and didn't want to buy a fresh pair for the last round.
Maybe.
I guess that would probably be why. I was going to say, you could see that it looks like there's a bit of graining on everyone's tyres here and there, because it's the last round of the season, the winter's coming in. After this, your racing is going to be you go to Spain for a week or two, and that's about it, isn't it? So
I wish.
Yeah, we just see us local commentators just have to sit and bear with the freezing cold and ridiculously high heating bills, unfortunately. But still, that is it then for race number 1 in the Mini GP 50Rs. They've got 2 more races to come their way this season. It is time for the Amphibian Scaffolding Extreme 200 race number 1, and this is essentially this weekend turning into a little bit of a metric test session alongside 2 pit bike style machines. So as they make their way out onto the grid, let's run through it for you. It's Taylor Tomlinson on pole position, Frankie Watson in P2, Logan Cousins is 3rd with Matthew Thomas starting P4. Travis Shaw is 5th with Arnie Carr in P6. Leo Soliu is 7th with Michael Med in P8. Sebastian Goslavsky starts in P9 with Taylor Davis rounding up the top 10. And the final row of the grid, row number 6, it's Maxwell Keats and Jamie Pitbike Sonic King, also known this weekend as the Real Slim Shady. Let's see what he can do in this Extreme 200 field. But Taylor Tomlinson, again, some race wins last time out here at Three Sisters a few weeks ago, looking very racy this weekend at the final round of the season. Let's see how that 77 can fare.
Yeah, definitely, Ross. I mean, I spoke to Taylor earlier, had a quick chat with him at the beginning of our paddock walk, and he was like, yeah, it's going to be fun this weekend. He wasn't really a man of many words this morning when I spoke to him, but from what I got from him, it sounds like he's just here to have a bit of fun, have a bit of good racing this weekend, and really just see how it goes. Oh, we've got a zoom in at the moment. There is Lee's crops, the beautiful crops with the Prada bows on. Bows, love a good bow.
I'm just going to nod my head and pretend I know what you're talking about. Yeah. In the meantime, Jamie King looks like he's not taking part in this race, mainly because I can see him down in the pit lane without his helmet on. So I guess he must have just done the practice sessions and the qualifying sessions to get some extra track time and not be competing in the race. So then there was 11, I suppose. Green flag goes in the air, and we get going in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200. What a start there from the 14 of Frankie Watson round the outside of Taylor Tomlinson into Paddock Bend to get the whole shot here at Three Sisters. How can Tomlinson respond? Strong start there from Logan Cousins as well. The 24 of Maxwell Keats has not gone away from the grid. He's been wheeled over to the side of the racetrack. And then there was 10. It'll be Frankie Watson that leads them onto lap 1 proper from Taylor Tomlinson, from Logan Cousins in P3. Bit of deja vu from the 70s race earlier.
Yeah, absolutely, Ross. I mean, Frankie Watson has really just come out this weekend and said, right guys, it's the last weekend, I'm just going to show you what I got. Keep up with me if you want. If not, okay. But he's absolutely flying. But like Ross was saying, it's Frankie Watson leading ahead of Taylor Tomlinson, with Logan Cousins in P3, Matthew Thomas P4 and Travis Shaw in P5. These guys have been ones to watch all season long. We've just seen them grow and grow into absolute brilliant riders, really just continuing to perform, continuing to just get better, and that's what's brilliant to see as the season goes on. But we've got 10 laps left to go. That's the 47 of Matthew Thomas. He looks like to be wanting to make a move and get past Michael Med at the moment.
Yeah, but through, though, goes Sebastian Goslavsky there on Matthew Thomas, who's had a pretty rotten last couple of laps and has dropped down the order. That is Maxwell Keats, who we saw pulling over to the side of the exit of the pit lane at the start of the race. I guess they were told by the marshals, you need to get out of the way here, just in case anybody wants to come out of the pit exit. 9 to go then, as they come to the line. It's still Watson, Tomlinson, Cousins, your top three. Cousins with the fastest lap of the race on that last tour, 43.648. That's half a tenth quicker than Tomlinson, who himself was 2 tenths quicker than Frankie Watson, as we see there pushing their way through. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, it looks like there may be something going on down in the pit lane potentially, is he?
It did just look like to me there may have been someone signalling possibly to a rider, or maybe to what's going on there. The 24 of Maxwell Keats has just been released onto track.
Well, as long as he comes back into the pits on this lap, because he knows he's out of the race, of course, you're not allowed to rejoin a race here at Three Sisters if you come to a halt or go down and out. So we'll wait to see what's going to happen there. But it is 8 laps left to go. It's still Watson from Tomlinson from Cousins that leads as they go through Lucy's Valley. You can take that inside left curb through there on these bikes if you feel brave. Not on a Minimoto though, so that's why you'll be seeing the Minimotos giving that inside left curve a little bit of a wider berth, just to make sure they're not going to hit it and get launched 30 feet into the air, because it is a very, very aggressive curb. Yellow flags out down onto the Rogerson straight, and that'll be why Arnie Carr from P4 is down and out. He's going to remount. Should be coming back into the pits, but I think he knows he does. He's wheeling the bike over to the side. What a rare error there from Arnie Carr, who was running in P4 at the time. He must have just got greedy on the throttle, have the rear step out, and it would have thrown him off. That's a real shame.
But on our screens at the moment, sorry Ross, just to take over, we have got Frankie Watson, Taylor Tomlinson and Logan Cousins really battling it out. It is deja vu from our GP70 race a little bit earlier, but these guys always battling it out, always wanting to beat each other. But what's always brilliant to see, when they come back into the paddock after a race, they're congratulating each other, they're giving each other pats on the back. So they're really good friends when they're not on the track. But it is Frankie Watson who just put in the fastest lap of a 43.566.
Oh! That's Frankie Watson from the race lead, coming through the S's, and he's down and out with a big one. Wow, what a change-up up the front. A rare error from Frankie Watson. It throws parts of the bike off as well. That looks to be the fuel tank to my eyes. And you've got to wonder if that's maybe dropped fuel on the circuit as well.
Yes, you do have to wonder, Ross, but Frankie Watson, bless him, is not going to be best pleased with that accident there. But now Taylor Tomlinson leads ahead of Logan Cousins. We have got just 5 laps left to go. This is going to be the battle to watch now. Taylor Tomlinson ahead of Logan Cousins. Are we going to see the return of the Macarena at the end of this race in just a little bit of time? But these guys have pulled away massively from everybody else. Travis Shaw currently running in P3, a 5.271 gap between him and Taylor Tomlinson and Logan Cousins running in P1 and P2 at the moment. This is very interesting racing to be watching at the moment. Very unpredictable for the Extreme 200. Extreme 200, we don't normally have this sort of unpredictable nature to it. Normally we sort of know where the battles are going to be and can see what's going to be happening, but that's gone out of the window this weekend.
It's a little bit chaotic, this one, isn't it? I mean, maybe it's the different layout we're using here today. The Valley Circuit's a little bit more technical, a little bit more tight and twisty than the full layout that we used last time. It's the first time we've used this layout ever in FAB-Racing, and it's both for the big wheel gearbox bikes and the Minimotos as well. So maybe that's catching a few people out. Maybe the racing gods have just decided to have a little bit of fun. Who can tell? Either way, soon to be 3 laps left to go, and the 77 of Taylor Tomlinson leads from the 7 of Logan Cousins after Frankie Watson dramatically crashes out from the lead. They come up to the line. That also, with Frankie Watson going down, Sebastian Goslavsky on the previous lap did get through Travis Shaw, and maybe holding on to that 3rd place as well. We wait to see where he is as they come to the line, and yes, Goslavsky is holding on at the front of that train in the battle for the final podium position. But up the front, Tomlinson looking calm and composed. 2 race wins last time out here at Three Sisters, looking to make it one out of potentially a few more here at the final round, a track that he absolutely loves, and he is relishing the opportunity to get back onto the top step of the podium. Soon to be 2 to go.
Absolutely. Taylor Tomlinson has really got a gap building between him and Logan Cousins now. Brilliant performance we are seeing from him as they cross the line. We have 2 laps left to go. It is Taylor Tomlinson leading ahead of Logan Cousins. Taylor has just performed brilliantly over our last few rounds towards the end as well. He's performed well all season, but we are really seeing him come into his nature when he's leading the races. He gets that lead, he's comfortable in it. He knows that Logan Cousins may be putting on that little bit of pressure in these last few laps, but he is just comfortable in looking at building that gap instead of letting Logan put the pressure on. So Taylor Tomlinson has his head down. Looks like they're coming around to come past a bit of back traffic now. Yes, they are, but we can see that yellow flag with the black cross through it. We are on the last lap for the first race of the Extreme 200 of the weekend. It is Taylor Tomlinson leading at the moment, and a brilliant performance we have seen from this race. Unfortunate crash there for Frankie Watson, which took him out of contention for this race, but it is Taylor Tomlinson who leads ahead of Logan Cousins, coming around into the final few corners now. Down he goes into Luna Bend, roughly coming now, into Luna Bend comes Taylor Tomlinson. Coming now into the final corner, it is going to be Taylor Tomlinson. Checkered flag flies. Taylor Tomlinson, your race winner for the Extreme 200's first race of the weekend. A brilliant performance from him.
Fire up the TARDIS, because it's race wins in back-to-back weekends here for Taylor Tomlinson in FAB-Racing. As Taylor Tomlinson takes the long way round by the looks of things. You're not supposed to be doing that, and I think there might be a few words being had from the officials. But it is Taylor Tomlinson with the Macarena back out in 2025, his 3rd win of the season overall. And the 77 is back on top once again with a fantastic performance. Yes, a little bit of luck as Frankie Watson crashed out from the lead of the race. But it's Taylor Tomlinson on top once again. Logan Cousins brings it home in 2nd. And Sebastian Goslavsky rounding out the podium places as well. God, it's like it's 2022 again. Tomlinson and Goslavsky on the same podium. Oh, take me back. It's Travis Shaw finishing P4 with Matthew Thomas 5th, Michael Medin P6, Leo Solly was 7th, Taylor Davis P8, Maxwell Keats was 9th, and unfortunately we lost Frankie Watson, Arnie Carr, and Jamie King was a DNS. As you can see Slim there taking the photos for the FAB-Racing social media. I'm not going to stop taking the mick out of his hair until it's gone, basically, because it's diabolically blonde, shade of blonde. That's it though for race 1 in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200s. They'll be back for race 2 and race 3 later on.
Yeah, coming up now, we have the first race for the Moto Team, guys. In this, we have the Moto Team Open and the Moto Team Standard. But let's have a little look at who's starting where. In pole position, we have Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing P2. We have Sam Clowes P3, Matt Lindley P4, Ian Jackson P5, Phil Mapplebeck P6, Harrison O'Keefe P7, Linton DiMiola P8, Ben O'Keefe P9, Phil Joyce P10, Gary O'Keefe P11, Paul Kelly P12, Malcolm Stein P13, Madison Martlew, and P14, Peter Appleton. That is our grid for these guys in their race. It must be mentioned that for the Moto Team Open class, that championship was decided last weekend. We saw Team Acme Racing, Marco Pandolfo, take that championship win last weekend that we were at Three Sisters. Beginning of September that was. It's crazy, it's been a month since we were last here, but we'll have to see how these guys fare when they are running on that slightly different circuit layout. It'll be really interesting to see what's going to happen. But Lee Clowes just waiting to check where everybody, if everybody is there, everybody's ready to go. She holds that red flag up, she moves off to the side, and let's see what happens. She grabs that green flag, is flag up, flag down. We are racing here at Three Sister Circuit for the Moto Team class. It is Team Acme Racing that leads from Sam Clowes, both of them running on a Moto Team Open bikes, running P3 and P4 at the moment. Matt Lindley and Ian Jackson both on the standard class bike. So those are the guys we're going to be wanting to keep an eye on for this weekend. The guys are running in the standard class, which could still be decided this weekend. We will have to wait and see what happens, but it is Marco Pandolfo leading ahead of Sam Clowes. Sam Clowes has come back to join us for this weekend. We haven't seen him very much lately, so it's really good to see Sam Clowes back with us. Always brilliant when riders come back and see us and join us again, but it is Marco Pandolfo who leads ahead of Sam Clowes.
Yeah, Marco Pandolfo with those fresh leathers on. But don't forget that Sam Clowes, last time he was here at FAB-Racing, pretty dominant all weekend. So let's see if he can get back onto the top step of the podium. But it will be Pandolfo that will lead the way once again. Make it 10 laps left to go in this one. And fastest lap as well, 48.954. Only rider into the 48 on that tour. Sorry, is it? It
is, yeah. Team Acme Racing, Marco Pandolfo absolutely dominated all season long, and it is fabulous to see from those guys. I mean, Sam Clowes are running in a P2, a really strong start for him. Bit of a gap building between him and Marco Pandolfo out on that blue bike in the lead, but still amazing start to this race for him. On our screens at the moment, we can see the 27 of Ian Jackson and the 191 of Phil Mapplebeck. This is the battle going on currently for P4. Absolutely brilliant stuff to see. Phil Mapplebeck on an open bike compared to Ian Jackson on the standard. We're going to have to see who fares best there.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but should be a fascinating battle. The 191 there, still putting the pressure onto the back of Ian Jackson. Of course, Jackson already champion in the standard class this year. Both of the titles being wrapped up at the previous round. They push their way down the pit straight and into Paddock Bend. The standard bike still holding on there. Jackson is a very, very phenomenal rider, it must be said. With the 191, the open class, they are faster machines. Looking to the inside into Luna Bend. Nothing there on that occasion, as there'll be 8 laps left to go for this group very, very shortly, as Marco Pandolfo on the Team Acme bike breaks the beam, as it's really, really close out there. Of course, Moto Team, the cheapest motorsport available in the UK, and as you can tell, fast and furious as well. If you're sat at home, make sure you head over to the FAB-Racing website to find out how to get involved without breaking the bank here in Moto Team.
Absolutely, we have got just 8 laps of racing left to go. This is our battle at the moment between the 41 of Linton Di Meola and the 65 of Harrison O'Keefe. Really good battle to be watching at the moment, but it must also be mentioned Stein running in P10. He is back with us this weekend after not. Oh, and that is a big down there. That's the 65 of Harrison O'Keefe. He is down and out of this race. Not too sure what happened there for him, but that was not the best crash.
Yeah, his throttle stuck open as well. He's got a bit of a limp on, but he's up on his feet, which is the most important thing. Harrison doesn't often crash, but when he does, he likes to put on a bit of a show. That is a pretty big one, but at least he's up and A-OK. That's the main thing. Trying to get back on the bike, but I'm not sure if he just wants to wheel it out of the way or maybe bring it back round to the pit lane. As we see, is that a swap for position? Yes, I think it is. I think these guys have swapped round. Yes, they have. So Ian Jackson back in front of Phil Mapplebeck. Of course, yellow flags waving into Luna Bend due to that crash with Harrison O'Keefe, who is set to still be vice-champion of the standard class this season. I believe, anyway. Or I might be talking completely wrong. But he's finishing well either way. Up the inside, though, goes the 191. Ian Jackson holds it to the outside, side by side. These guys aren't even racing for position. They're in 2 different classes, as almost taking the motocross line. Goes the 27, almost up the bank and onto the Supermoto course. Ian Jackson, wow, talk about a heart in your mouth moment.
They are getting really competitive, really gritty racing from these 2 guys there. Like we said, the 27 of Ian Jackson, then not too sure where he thought he was going to go there, if I'm honest, you know. That was quite an interesting one to see from him there as he went up onto the curb. But we have just got 5 laps left to go. And this is the 191 of Phil Mapplebeck running in P3, closely followed by the 27 of Ian Jackson. But my, oh my, these 2 are really getting involved. I mean, it looks like Ian Jackson, after running up onto the curb, has backed off a little bit. He probably thought, yeah, okay, that went a bit too far then, a bit too gritty.
No.
Let's just calm down.
I want more, Ian Jackson. I want to see you take that tabletop jump full power. Come on. Maybe not for the 27. Let's try and stay in this race. But yeah, Ian Jackson, that was I don't know if he had a bit too much speed into the corner or he got it wrong sometime at some point. But yeah, ran very wide, almost onto the grass, taking all of the curb and then some on the run up into the infield section before Lucy's Valley. But yeah, to quote Noel Gallagher, I want more. Let's push on anyway. 4 laps left to go in this one. It is still Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing that leads. Sam Carson second, Phil Mapplebeck up to P3. All 3 of those guys in the open class. As getting a bit close for comfort there with the traffic is this battle. Then we've got our 3 standard podium finishers in P4, 5, 6. As Ian Jackson ahead of Matt Lindley. Those 2 fighting for the win, really, really close. Then it's a bit further back to Linton Di Meola. Only 1 DNF in this race. It is Harrison O'Keefe. As look at how aggressive Ian Jackson is taking, getting through the traffic. I think he knows there's big pressure behind him.
Yeah, definitely he does. I mean, just 3 laps left to go. He's got to hold on to this position and really make it work for him. But absolutely brilliant stuff here we are seeing from our race leader Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing. Like Ross said, in very fresh leathers for this weekend, some new leathers for him. But absolutely brilliant stuff we had seen from him all season. We did have a couple of races where another rider came in and replaced for him whilst he went home to visit family. But overall, Marco Pandolfo really does just look so comfortable and at ease on that bike. Him and that bike really work well together, really work as one. And it's just brilliant stuff to see because he gets a hold of that lead, sits with it so comfortably. Yes, can come under pressure on occasion from other people, but most of that time he just flies ahead from the others on that number 8 and really dominates. 2 laps left to go. That is our championship winner for the Moto Team Open class standard. Still up for grabs this weekend, but absolutely amazing stuff we see from Marco Pandolfo weekend in and weekend out.
It has been a brilliant season for Team Acme Racing, be it Marco Pandolfo on the bike, as it has been for most of the time, Matt Lindley, maybe others as well. As you see there, Sam Clowes maybe having to work his way through some lap traffic, but as they come round Luna Bend, the Sicilian will start the final lap in race number 1 of Moto Team in the final weekend of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. And what a season it has been for that squad. What a weekend it is already looking like it's going to be. Sam Clowes on the 133 is a tough opponent. When he has turned up this season, he's normally been winning. But here at Three Sisters, it's the number 8 that's looking to be back on top again. No championship pressure on them whatsoever. That was done and dusted a long time ago. Coming through Paddock Bend onto the Rogerson Straight for the final time in this race. Marco Pandolfo looks so comfortable, looks right at home leading this race, and as he comes round Luna Bend for the final time, it's Acme on top once again. The number 8 machine will take the checkered flag in race number 1 of Moto Team here at Three Sisters. Sam Clowes on his return will bring it home in P2, with Phil Mapplebeck set to take the 3rd place overall and in the open class as well. And now we wait to see what's going on in the standard class a little bit further back. We're still waiting for Mapplebeck to cross the line ahead of Matt Lindley on the 142. Mapplebeck now does take 3rd overall and confirms his 3rd place in class. Matt Lindley comes home in 2nd place, or 4th place should I say, takes the win in standard class with Ian Jackson in P2, only 6 tenths behind. Linton Di Miola set to take P3 in class, P6 overall. Looks like Marco Pandolfo's gone for a little extra lap there. Celebration maybe? I don't know.
Maybe, or just miss the turn-in he had to make before going into the pits, because it is slightly different for everyone this weekend. Running on this different circuit layout. Let's just have a run through of the results. There on our screens we can see in 1st place was Marco Pandolfo for Team Acme Racing. 2nd we had Sam Clowes. Coming 3rd was Phil Mapplebeck. P4 Matt Lindley, P5 Ian Jackson, P6 Linton Di Miola, P7 Ben O'Keefe, P8 Phil Joyce, P9 Malcolm Stein, P10 Gary O'Keefe, P11 Paul Kelly, P12 Madison Martley, P13 Peter Appleton, and unfortunately it was a DNF for Harrison O'Keefe. Unfortunate for him.
It is time for the final race 1 of the season, let alone the weekend, and it is time for race number 1 in the Mini GP 50s, brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre. As the riders make their way round on their sighting lap, let's run you through the grid. It's Caelan Ratcliffe on pole position, Josh Perkins alongside, Rotsu, Emilio Pereira and Rex Austin. Tommy Keats is P5 with Riley Paisley P6. Max Johnson starts in 7th with Daisy Bolden 8th, and it's Kai Hawken and Preston Baker rounding out our top 10. Bo Morris is 11th with Tommy Williams P12. Jensen Cedras starts 13th. Callum Maxwell P14. Bojan Blajewski is 15th alongside Danny Longhurst. And on the 9th and final row of the grid, it is Harry James and Claudia Dudman. So 18 riders getting ready to start this final race 1 of the season. They'll be making their way slowly through Lucy's Valley, through the Joey Dunlop corner, and then onto their grid. as they're just getting prepared to go racing. Of course, the championship done and dusted last round by Sebastian Goslavsky. He's focusing his efforts on the 70s this weekend to get a little bit of pre-preparation in for an inevitable attack on the Mini GP 70 British Championship in 2026. But that means that the dominant rider of this field is not taking part this weekend, and it leaves the door wide open for the likes of Ratcliffe, for the likes of Perkins, for the likes of Pereira and Austin. This could be a very exciting race. Emilio Pereira just getting pushed out a little bit wider by the looks of things, trying to get a better angle of attack down into turn number 1 as Lee Klaus holds them all in place and now is ready to send them on their way. Our flag marshal will walk off to the side of the road, drop the red flag, pick up the green, and when that drops, it's time to go racing. A little bit of a delay further back. That's number 2 of Jensen Cedras, who I believe is making his Mini GP50 debut in FAB-Racing this weekend. The LC40 Elite Champion of this year. Looks like big-time issues with that metric hit machine. Let's hope he can start this race. We're still holding at the front. Everyone else's tyres going to be cooling. Brakes going to be getting cold. Cedras, I think, will have to admit mechanical defeat. Lee Klaus walks to the side of the racetrack. Ratcliffe and Perkins on the front row. The green flag rises and we go racing. That's a great reaction there by Caleb Ratcliffe. Josh Perkins does not get away well. Emilio Pereira is going to get into the lead, surely coming through turn number 2. Wow, what a start from El Toro as they come into Luna Bend for the opening time. It was Caleb Ratcliffe who got a great start but caught unawares, and as they start lap 1 proper, the 31 of Emilio Pereira will lead this race.
An absolutely fabulous start from Emilio Pereira there, who now leads ahead of Caleb Ratcliffe and Josh Perkins in 3rd place. These guys pulled away slightly from the others, but you have got Rex Austin, who's now running alongside Tommy Keats. They're running in 4th and 5th at the moment. But you know, Caleb Ratcliffe, he's not going to be best pleased with that start to that race for him there. He really wanted to push and get a hold and keep a hold of that pole position. He hasn't had many pole positions. I think this could be his first of the season actually for Caleb Ratcliffe, so he's going to just want to really prove himself in this race, and it looks like he was going to try and make a move on the outside there, but just couldn't quite get enough out of his bike to make it. So it is still Emilio Pereira who leads into this next lap. We've got 10 laps of racing left to go for these guys. The first race is the Mini GP 50s of the race weekend, and it is Emilio Pereira who leads ahead of Caleb Ratcliffe, with Josh Perkins running really close behind in P3. But Rex Austin now running in P4. He's got past Tommy Keats in P5 and he's absolutely flying on the tail of Josh Perkins. He put fastest lap in last time round of a 46.836. He's really showing some speed around this circuit.
Long way to go still in this race. It is not done and dusted yet. Pereira, after a brilliant start, still leads the way. Ratcliffe from pole, a perfect getaway, but caught unawares into only the 2nd turn after the green flag dropped. And Josh Perkins now holding on to P3, but for how much longer? Rex Austin, a little look to the inside there, doesn't come into fruition on that occasion, but the 991 seems hungry, feels like he wants it. Bit of a mistake there from Ratcliffe, potentially opens the door for Perkins now. It's just the nature of Mini GP 50 racing. It's like Moto 3 style almost. One little error, one small mistake, or you get shoved out wide, anything can happen, and bang, you're dropping back 3, 4, 5 positions in the train, and you've got to do a whole lot of work to get up there once again. Pereira and Ratcliffe look like they're starting to break away a little bit from the rest of the pack. It is still the 31 that leads, but the 96 is right on his tail.
Yeah, absolutely. The 96 just put a fastest lap in now. We've got 8 laps left to go. Caleb Ratcliffe, fastest lap of 46.229, just 0.170 separating him and Emilio Pereira running in first at the moment. Really close battle we're seeing there. Rex Austin has made that move up past Josh Perkins, now running in P3, but it is this battle for first place we really are going to be watching at the moment. This could potentially become a 4-way battle because Rex Austin and Josh Perkins are so close to these guys at the moment This is really a battle we want to be watching. This is going to be some really good racing from these guys. Caelan Ratcliffe always does around Luna Bend. He seems to look to try and make a move on the outside, but he can't quite bring it to be made. He can't quite manage to make it, but we got 7 laps left to go. Emilio Pereira, Caelan Ratcliffe, Rex Austin and Josh Perkins all battling it out here for those podium positions. Really cannot say who's going to end up where for this one. Really tight battling we are seeing from them. They are just coming down past the commentary box now, and they are flying around this track. Currently running in P5, we do have Tommy Keith. Really good position for him. He stayed where he started. Really good practice for him out on the track at the moment. But this is the battle we want to be watching. Look at that. Look how tightly they are. Really so close together. Caelan Ratcliffe is so hot on the tail of Emilio Pereira. Really don't know how to say this one's going to go, Ross.
Rex Austin, another look there on Ratcliffe. Doesn't come to anything as Pereira runs slightly wide in turn 1 and misses the apex. But it's not enough to invite the number 96 through. A bit of traffic up ahead, though. That's Claudia Dubman in P16. That could cause chaos. And are they all going to get held up? Are they going to hold the status quo? I think they'll all just about get away with it into Paddock Bend. This is as tight as you like. Well, that is Ratcliffe has actually got through by the looks of things, but Pereira with the switchback up to the inside gets it reconfirmed. It just goes to show how tense this is. I think we're just missing the spark to ignite this bonfire. Pereira briefly loses the lead, but it was never any issue with the switchback straight back up into the lead of the race. 5 to go. It's Pereira, Ratcliffe, Austin, Perkins, your top 4. You couldn't fit a cigarette paper between them.
This is really tense racing we have got happening at the moment, Ross. I'm so still really looking forward to this race and what we're going to see happen here. We've got the 31 of Emilio Pereira leading ahead of Caelan Ratcliffe on that number 96, but
it's lap traffic. It's lap traffic there.
It is traffic there. They've got to make their way through. Doesn't look like Caelan Ratcliffe found it the easiest to get through that traffic there. Emilio Pereira flew through pretty easily, but Caelan did seem to struggle. But they're coming around now to make it just 4 laps left to go. This is some brilliant racing we are seeing here. Who is going to get in between these guys? Rex Austin, it looked like he got a little bit held back by that lap traffic there. So that gap between him and Caelan Ratcliffe has opened up a bit. Ratcliffe is now thinking, okay, I got a little bit less pressure behind me now. I can really focus on putting the pressure on the guy in front.
Well, we're getting to the business end of this race now, so the elbows have got to start coming out. If you're Ratcliffe, if you're Austin, and you're thinking, okay, I've been following the rider in front of me now for a while, I haven't quite able to make my way through or confirm the position. Where am I stronger? What can I do differently? Do I have to get physical with them? Is the questions they need to be asking, because any 4 of this top 4 could be taking this race win as they start to encounter lots and lots of traffic now, and it's getting a bit silly because they're going to go 4 wide somehow into turn number 1. Rex Austin is straight over a curve but still on the bike. Pereira's going to lead. This is getting very very Ratcliffe held up big time through Lucy's Valley, and that is breathing room, crucial breathing room with 2.5 to go for Emilio Pereira and for Ratcliffe as well. But Ratcliffe also losing time in front. He now needs to get a shift on.
Yeah, he does, Ross, but this just shows you back traffic can cause so many issues. If they do not get out of the way for those riders running out front, it really can cause issues for those gaps, for these battles, because now Emilio Pereira has really got a few more seconds ahead of Caelan Ratcliffe. Now Ratcliffe is catching up very quick though, may I add. He is really putting that throttle on to really try and catch up with him. Like, he knows he's got just under 2 laps left to go to try and take this win from Emilio Pereira. But absolutely brilliant performance we're seeing from these guys. But he's so hot on the tail of Emilio Pereira, they're literally coming through down those straights side by side. These guys both are really desperately hungry for that win. Oh gosh, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here, but they're coming around now. 1 lap left to go. We see the flag and they've got traffic to make their way through. Let's see what happens here. Who is going to take it? Is it going to be Pereira or is it going to be Caelan Ratcliffe? They are really being held up by the traffic there. Pereira looks like he's making his way through. Ratcliffe still stuck that bit behind. They are literally stuck in a train of back traffic at the moment. This is madness, but they looks like they could potentially, well, and Pereira's through. Ratcliffe not able to get through. That was awful then. That was not good at all. Ratcliffe really got stuck behind that traffic, gave Pereira that really big lead. Pereira with just under a lap left to go. Absolutely brilliant performance. Round to the final corner. Checker flag waves, and it is Emilio Pereira who takes the win for the first race of the Mini GP 50 of the weekend. Brilliant performance from him.
What a chaotic race. And Emilio Pereira, who hasn't even stood on the podium before in the King's Two Wheel Centre Mini GP 50s. You are a race winner, my son. El Toro is back on top in FAB Racing. You've got to feel for Ratcliffe. You've got to feel for Austin and Josh Perkins, who are piling on so much pressure, but ultimately got caught out by the lap traffic. But it is Emilio Pereira who is finally on top in 2025, and it is thoroughly deserved with a great ride and a great performance. Race 1 done and dusted in the King's Two Wheel Centre Mini GP 50s. It's El Toro back on top with Ratcliffe in second and Rex Austin in P3. Josh Perkins is fourth with Tommy Keats fifth. Riley Paisley is sixth with Kai Hawkins seventh. Daisy Polden eighth. Max Johnson ninth. And Bo Morris rounding out our top 10 finishers. 2 more races to go this season in the Mini GP 50s. And it's Emilio Pereira setting the benchmark early in the final weekend of the year.
We are now going to start our race 2s of the weekend. This is going to be some really good stuff we've got coming out onto track at the moment. Our AC40 enters for their second race of the weekend, starting pole position. We have Nelly Nuth P2, we have Noah Barfoot P3, Finley Styles P4, James Dermott P5, Randy Carter P6, Dustin Baton P7, Daisy Grayson, and P8 Zach Athasich. So brilliant stuff to see what's going to happen for the second races for these guys.
Should be really interesting. And of course, this one, huge, a title decider on the line. Finley Styles, a 40-point advantage ahead of Nelly Nuth in the championship fight. If that gap is 26 or bigger at the end of this race, Finley Styles is your first ever AC40 Inter champion. This could be fireworks out there on the racetrack. Nuth from pole, Styles from P3. We're just waiting for Noah Barford, who had a disappointing race 1 by his standards, to slot into P2, and we are ready to go. And a championship that has captured the eyes and the hearts of millions around the world. Does it all come down to this? 40 points in it. 26 is the gap needed at the end of this one for Styles from P3. His rival Nuth from P1 looking for a second win of the weekend. It is lights out and we get going here at Three Sisters. Nuth will lead the way into turn 2, but look at Noah Barfoot. Much better start in this one, and it is the number 36 that's going to lead the way down into Luna Bend and will surely lead them onto the first lap proper, with Finley Styles holding on in what looks like P3. Barfoot from Nuth from Styles as they start lap 1.
Absolutely brilliant start for Noah Barfoot there. He really just got away from everyone there and started brilliantly. But here we go. Here are our championship guys battling it out. We've got Nelly Nuth just ahead of that 19 of Finley Styles. She's really going to be under pressure from him in this race because he knows that he needs to beat her so much in order to make sure he can win that championship. But if Nelly beats him in this race, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But Nelly looks like she's building up that bit of a gap away from Finlay, trying to catch up to Noah Barfoot, but the gap he's built is brilliant from in those first few laps. A 0.632 gap built between these guys now. Amazing stuff to be seen from these guys. They will, after this race, have just one race left of the season. Cannot believe we are already here, but we have 8 laps left to go of race 2 for the AC40 Inters.
After a disappointing race number 1 earlier on, Noah Barfoot 1.7 clear at the line from Nelly Nuth last time. Yes, Nuth under big pressure from those behind, maybe having to think about going on the defensive, maybe the championship clouding her mind as well. And as well, track conditions have changed. We know that there's a lot that's been changed on that 44 machine coming into this weekend after the middle part of the season was full of reliability gremlins. Maybe it just doesn't quite favour the bike as the conditions earlier on did. Styles almost smelling the fumes out of the exhaust of Nelly Nuth. If they finish as they do, the number 19 is the first ever Britson AC40 Inter champion in FAB-Racing. Can he do it by getting in front of his title rival as well? Up into the opening corner, and on the brakes, the 19 slides on by. And with 17 to go, the picture for Nelly Nuth goes from bad to worse as her title rival, who she needs to outscore by 16 points to keep her title hopes alive, gets up in front.
Finlay Styles is going to be really, really happy with his performance there, to be able to get up past Nelly. Nelly now under pressure from Randy Carter, who even in the first race, with a penalty for a jump start, still managed to get P3 overall of the race. So brilliant race from him. But this is where we're really going to be watching these guys at the moment. Finlay Styles, now he's got past Nelly, he's building that bit of a gap between himself and her. Is she going to be able to do what he did and in a couple laps apply the pressure to him like he did to her just to take that position? But Nelly Nuth currently sat in P3 of this race for the AC40 Inters, with Randy Carter just behind her and Finlay Styles just in front. Our race leader, Noah Barfoot, has actually just really flown ahead of everybody else. Nearly 3 seconds separating him and Finlay Styles in second place. He's just put in a fastest lap of 51.883. Noah Barfoot really putting on a show for us this weekend.
I mean, forget getting your ticket. Noah Barfoot's on the train already halfway to the destination. He has gone at the front of this pack, ahead of Styles, ahead of Nuth, and Styles as well himself starting to open up a little bit of a gap behind Nuth as well, starting to pull ever so slightly ahead of Randy Carter. Just goes to show just how tight this grid is here. This new class for 2025, the AC40 Inters, so many strong riders here that are the future of British motorsport. These will be the guys you'll be seeing in the British Talent Cup in a few years' time, up there in Red Bull Rookies, and then going on to BSB, WSBK, Moto GP as well. It all starts here in FAB-Racing on the road to Moto GP. Noah Barfoot, again, after a disappointing race number 1 earlier on today, a commanding lead. 3 seconds at the line last time. You'd expect it to be even more with how well he is lapping. But it's Barfoot from Styles from Nuth, your top 3, and it's soon to be 4 laps left to go.
Absolutely, Ross, you are right there. Styles got comfortable in that second position now. He is ever so slightly catching up with Barfoot out in front, but he has got that gap between him and Nelly just behind him now. He's really going to be hungry for that championship. Like you said, it's a new class for this year. Whoever gets it this year will go down in the history books as the first winner of the AC40 Interclass. So that is really what we're going to be looking at to see. I mean, beginning of the season, the form Nelly was on, everybody thought it was going to be in the bag for Nelly, but Finlay Styles over the latter part of the season has really come out and gone, no, I want a shot of this as well, and has really been putting the pressure on her. She's been having her technical struggles, her mechanical struggles, so we're really going to have to wait and see what happens.
We are. Well, it's 2 or 3 laps left to go, should I say. And again, Nuth, early strong form, but then reliability troubles and then a dip in said form as well. And you have to be consistent in a championship picture, and that is what the 19 has been. Super consistent all throughout the year. And a little bit of pressure still on behind from Nelly Nuth, but at this point, what is going through the minds of these young riders? What is Nuth thinking? Does she have to gamble everything to try and get up in front? What is Styles thinking? Is he keeping his cool under his helmet, knowing that he's 2.5 laps away from the Brits AC40 Championship in 2025? It's all to play for as we're about to go on to the penultimate lap.
Absolutely, we are just coming round to have 2 laps left to go. Noah Barthorpe has just crossed that line and made it so we have 2 laps left to go. Nelly, though, is really starting to catch up with Finley Styles. She's just put in a fastest lap of a 51.555. She knows he's just the slightest bit ahead of her, and she really wants to stop his chance of taking the championship in this race. She wants to make it go to that final race that we will see happening tomorrow. Is she going to look to make a move? No, she doesn't quite there. But we're coming round now into the final few corners, and we're just about to have 1 lap left to go. This is really coming down to tooth and nail. Is Nelly going to be able to catch up more with Finley? She did on the straight as they came down past the commentary box where they started the race. She really got up a bit of speed, but as they come round into the corners now, coming around to start the final lap, she can't quite catch up with him. But we just saw that yellow flag being waved with the black cross through it. Here on our screens now is our race leader. That is the 36 of Noah Barthorpe. He is just coming down now, about to come down past the commentary box. Here he comes, Noah Barthorpe, absolutely flying, our race leader, with Finley Styles in second still. Nelly Nuth still chasing after him, not quite being able to take that position away from him. But brilliant stuff we are seeing here from our race leader, Noah Barthorpe, on our screens, coming around Luna Bend now, coming just to complete the second race of the weekend for the AC40 Inters, and it is going to be Noah Barthorpe who takes the checkered flag and wins the second race of the weekend for the AC40 Inters. A brilliant performance we have seen from him, with Finley Styles in P2 and Nelly Nuth in P3. Brilliant stuff.
And that does mean as well, Finley Styles is the inaugural Britson Electrical Services AC40 champion, with a brilliant performance all year long. The number 19, the 44 of Nelly Nuth, gave everything she had today, and after a win in race 1, took it to race number 2, but unfortunately it was not enough. The 19 reigns supreme in 2025, and Styles is the king here at Three Sisters. And you can see the plaudits, see the applause, the whole paddock gathering round to say congratulations as the rest of the field make their way through. It's Barford from your new champion Styles, from Nelly Nuth in P3, Randy Carter 4th, with James Dermott 5th, Austin Bates in 6th, Daisy Grayson in P7, and Zach Apisic rounding out our grid in P8. That is it for race number 2 of the Britson Electrical Services AC40 Inter. They've got one more race this season, but it is all done and dusted. Finley Styles is your champion. Time for race number 2 in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. At this FAB finale, here are the Three Sisters Valley Circuit. A brilliant race 1. Jensen Brown dominating up the front, but plenty to be excited for heading into this one as the clouds begin to come over and the sun begins to set. Just coming up to 4:15 local time. We are miles ahead of schedule, and I think we're going to try and bash as many of our race 2s out of the way today as physically possible. It's Jensen Brown from pole. Alongside him is Van Morris on the front row. Row 2 is Logan Paisley and Chase Carter. Oakley Hipwell starts P5 with Caden Bailey P6. William Skingle is 7th alongside Vinnie Glossop. Jackson Sayers 9th with Casey Reeson rounding out the top 10. Louis Wood is 11th with Adele Everett in P12. Theo Tyler is 13th with Keely Bailey 14th. Tyler J. Windard is 15th with Oscar Bond in P16. Izzy Cook 17th. Jack Irwin in P18. And Bobby Baker in P19. I have found the source of the air horn. It appears to be Mason Frederick down in the pit lane, who's making it feel like we're at a Moto GP event in the early 2000s. Add a bit of atmosphere, why don't we, here at Three Sisters. Oh, I love that sound. It really takes me back to the early 2000s. It is brilliant. But as the horns rage on, as the crowd gathers round here at Three Sisters on a Friday, that is right, we are racing here Friday and Saturday for the final round for the 2025 season. 19 riders get ready to get going in race number 2 of the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. Jensen Brown dominant in race number 1 earlier on. And keep your eyes on the likes of Van Morris, Logan Paisley, Oakley Hipwell P5, all fast starters, all charging hard, it would appear, so far this weekend. And of course, Jack Irwin in P18, his debut FAB-Racing round here, his debut race, in fact, in his young fledgling career. Will he be another Irwin up in BSB alongside his uncle Andrew, who's here supporting him this weekend? The green flag raises, race 2 gets going. Jensen Brown, great getaway there. Disappointing start for Logan Paisley from P3 as they slide their way through Paddock Bend for the opening time. Everybody keeping it a bit cautious early doors as they squabble for position. Looks like it's Brown that leads ahead of Van Morris into Luna Bend for the very first time. That's Chase Carter by the looks of things. No, Carter, that's P5. It may as well be Oakley Hipwell, yes, who's moved up, I believe, into P3. As they come to the line for the very first time, it is Jensen Brown from Van Morris, from Oakley Hipwell, your top 3, with Logan Paisley down to 4th, Chase Carter dropping down into 5th place. So a couple of disappointing starts there from those up the front, but for the most part, everybody holding the status quo. Coming onto the infield section now for the first time in this race, running through this big right-hander which you can take flat out from the left and peel it down into Lucy's Valley and the Joey Dunlop corner before making your way back onto the pit straight. And is that Oakley Hipwell holding off Logan Paisley? Yes, it is, but not for much longer. Through goes Logan Paisley and reclaims his P3 that he lost on the opening tour. But Hipwell not taking no for an answer. Has a look to the inside into Luna Bend. Nothing comes to fruition on that occasion, but it was a good effort nonetheless from the 174 machine. As they now make it 7 laps left to go. Jensen Brown, what's the gap looking like? Monstrous is the answer. After 2 laps, it's 3.2 seconds. The man is on fire here on Friday at Three Sisters, and the 171 is flying up at the front of the pack, with Van Morris and Logan Paisley holding on to 2nd and 3rd place. Just behind them, Oakley Hipwell.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant racing from Jensen Brown, leading this race at the moment with 7 laps left to go. He is just putting a fastest lap of 56.395. Really impressive stuff we are seeing from him on that 171. Absolutely amazing racing we are seeing from him, with Van Morris running in P2 on that 43.
Coming through Luna Bend, this pack here, 7 now, 6 laps left to go, and it's no change up the front apart from the gap, with Jensen Brown extending that gap. Logan Paisley now holding on to P2. Can he keep it there? Can Van Morris upset the apple cart and slide back on by? Paisley starting 3rd, Morris starting in P2. And swap places, of course, down into Lucy's Valley we go. Don't want to hit that inside curb on a Minimoto on the left. It is like a cliff face. You will go flying on these machines with no suspension. Now into Paddock Bend once again. Bit of traffic up ahead, but keeping well out of the way. Of course, the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, you get... It is wonderful to see all these different experience ranges. Of course, on paper, it's not great. You've got people running 10, 15 seconds faster than others, but everyone's got to start somewhere, and it's great to see time and time again we get more and more first-time riders showing up, and it's showing that the future of our sport is so strong. 5 to go then. Brown's lead down to 3.7. Looks like he had a little bit of traffic issues on that occasion. And now Van Morris has retaken that second place up the main straight from Logan Paisley. So swapping positions with better momentum and better runs out of Luna Bend seems to be the aim of the game here.
Yeah, definitely. Van Morris now running in P2 ahead of Logan Paisley on that 25 machine. Just 0.068 separating these guys. They really are putting the pressure on each other. I mean, we've got just 5 laps left to go for these guys in their second race. And like you were saying, Ross, that place seems to be where the overtakes are happening a lot. Where Van Morris got past Logan Paisley, there seems to be the choice of the day for some people where they want to be making the move. But we have got a lot of back traffic in this race, which is really interesting to see how these guys work their way through it. With just 4 laps left to go, Jensen Brown still leading ahead of Van Morris. That gap now up to 4.195, with Logan Paisley in P3, just 0.3 separating him and Van Morris.
Yeah, getting very tight in that battle for second place, similar to what we saw in race number 1 earlier on today. 4 to go then, as the rest of the field pushes onwards, trying to make their way through in one piece. The 89 continuing to make his way around. That is Jackson Say, one of the newer names we've got on this rookies grid, but with a little bit of experience behind him. He's currently running P9. Casey Reeson just behind, has been on the move though recently, maybe looking to try and slide their way through. Definitely not at Lucy's Valley, but maybe down into Paddock Bend. Little check back there over the right hand shoulder from Say, and you'll see some big pressure behind 74 of William Skingle. He's had a disappointing race so far. He qualied P7 back in P11 at the moment. He must have had an incident somewhere earlier on. But continuing to pile the pressure on, not too far behind this group as well. Adele Everett on the 999 machine. It is the 171 of Jensen Brown that leads this race. The 43 of Van Morris and the 25 of Logan Paisley, P2 and P3.
Yeah, Ross, like you were saying, we are coming round now to have just 2 laps left to go soon. At the moment, we are still got just under 3. We are just waiting for our front runner to come round and cross that line to make it so that we have got 2 laps left to go. Waiting for Jensen Brown to appear on that 171 and then get it so we've got just 2 laps of this race left to go. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. That 171 of Jensen Brown has just made it so it's 2 laps left to go. He's just come over the finish line to reduce the amount of time left in this race. A brilliant performance we have seen from him all race weekend. There he is on our screen now, just coming through past a bit of back traffic with ease. He just came round and passed that back traffic. But there he is, our race leader, Jensen Brown, just coming down past the commentary box now. But a brilliant race we have seen from him at the start. He built up that gap, pulled away from everyone, has held onto his pole position throughout, and is now still leading this race. Rookies Cup is that place where we see lots of people, their first sort of experience of the racing world, really, of being here and racing. And Jensen Brown seems to be really comfortable with leading a race at the moment. And we have got just 1 lap left to go, the last lap for these guys for their second race of the AC40 Rookies. It is Jensen Brown who is leading with Van Morris in P2 and Logan Paisley in P3. Jensen Brown, though, brilliant performance from him in this race. Had pole position, qualified in pole, and has kept a hold of it. He's just coming down past the commentary box now, but it is absolutely amazing to see the performance we have seen from him. Jensen Brown now just coming around into the final few corners of this race for him. It is Jensen Brown as he comes down into Luna Bend, round that sweeping corner to come round to the final corner, and he will be taking the win of the second race of the weekend for the AC40 Rookies. And it is Jensen Brown. You see a little fist bump from him there. Oh, he took both hands off the handlebars.
He's doing tricks on it for free. Don't even have to pay an entrance fee to see the skills around here. Look, mum, no hands. It's 2 out of 2 from Jensen Brown. Another brilliant performance, although backing off over the last couple of laps. And a bit of traffic means the gap was only, he says only, 1 second back to Van Morris. Looks like Logan Paisley encountered a bit of an issue late in the day. Dropped to 12.3 back from Van Morris, but does still hold on to that podium place. Still 6 seconds ahead of Oakley Hitpole in P4. It's 2 out of 2 then to Jensen Brown. Can he sweep the FAB-Racing finale here at Three Sisters? Van Morris brings it home in second place, only a second away from the race win, with Logan Paisley rounding out our podium finishers. Oakley Hitpole was 4th, with Chase Carter P5, Caden Bailey in P6, Vinnie Glossop was 7th, Louis Wood in P8, Casey Reeser was 9th, and Jackson Say in P10. For that one, unfortunately, we did lose Oscar Bond from that race. He was our only DNF. I believe he went down into turn number 1 earlier on. That's it for race number 2 here in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. One more race to come your way in 2025. And can Jensen Brown sweep the weekend to end it perfectly?
And now we have the second race of the weekend for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. In the first race earlier today, we saw Jensen Sedras take that championship title for those liquid-cooled bikes. Absolutely brilliant stuff from him. Brilliant stuff to see, and amazing that he has took that championship battle and won it. But they're just waiting now to be let out, and they are coming out now for their sighting lap. Let's have a little run through once again of who is where. Jensen Sedras is on pole position. Finley Styles is in P2. Reed Saxelby P3. Freddie Taylor P4. Danny Longhurst P5. Joey Attersich P6. James Dermott P7, Claudia Dudman P8, P9 Cooper Sate, and rounding out our grid, starting 10th on the grid, is Ethan Bailey. So a pretty small group of riders we've got for these guys this weekend compared to normal. Obviously missing a couple of our liquid-cooled riders, as well as our air-cooled riders. Our winner of the championship for the air-cooled bikes, Tommy, isn't racing with these guys this weekend. But it's brilliant to see everybody else getting involved and really putting some battles in for us.
Absolutely, and in race number 1 we did see the LC40 Elite Championship come to a conclusion with Jensen Sedras taking it as the green flag dropped, because unfortunately his main competition isn't here, so he could have not entered the race and still won the title. But unfortunately, it's an anticlimactic, unfortunate way to take the title, but Sedras still very deserving of that one. So as he comes into his grid spot, the new champion will be starting from pole position. No number 1 plate to my eyes, but still, it's number 1 on the grid. A brilliant overall win in the race earlier on. And we'll be looking to replicate that one in race number 2. Looks like everybody is in position. Everybody is happy and ready to go. Lee Clowes will send them on their way in a few short moments. Last conversation between the new champion Sedras and their dad. Is that out of position maybe? Reed Saxelby, it looks very far to the right hand side of his grid box. The lights do go out, and it's not a great start again from Sedras. Saxelby nails it, and up into the lead of the race there goes the number 57, and with another brilliant start, he's been on fire at the flag this weekend. It is Saxelby that is going to lead them onto lap number 1 with Finley Styles in P2. Jensen Sedras, your new LC40 Elite champion, in 3rd.
Yeah, sorry Ross, just watching at the moment, it looks like Finley Styles is wobbling quite a bit on his bike. Looks like he was struggling a little bit with control of the bike, but like you said, Reed Saxelby really quick off the line. His position though, before the flag came down, he didn't look to be fully situated inside his grid box position, so that may just be something to keep an eye on. But Reed Saxelby currently leading this race ahead of Finley Styles in P2, Jensen Sadras in P3. A bit of deja vu from earlier when those air-cooled bikes got the better of the liquid cool from the start. Jensen Sadras didn't have the best start to his race again. But is Jensen Sadras going to do what we saw him do earlier and just work his way up past everyone and be like, excuse me, coming through, I'm on this liquid cool bike, I need to get past?
Well, he may be trying to do that just now as he gains on the inside, actually gets off the throttle, rolls it back and backs off. I think he knew that was a bit too far back into the opening corner, a bit too much risk. He decided just to take a moment, and now into Lucy's Valley. This would be a move if he pulls it off. Wonderful from the LC40 Elite Champion, who does have the number 1 on the bike now. You can see it. And Sadras up to second overall. Of course, still leading the way in the elite race. His only competition this weekend is Claudia Dubman, who's down in P8 overall. But Sadras now on the move and now on the charge. Of course, he wants to take the race winning class, but he also wants to take the checkered flag first. And as they come round Luna Bend, it'll be 7 laps left to go for the 57 of Reed Saxelby. Look at the momentum that Sadras gets, and look at how far in front he is before they even get to turn number 1. It is Sadras back into the overall lead, and me oh my, the power of that liquid cool machine is fully on display here at Three Sisters.
He really is just able to pull the most brilliant stuff to see from Jensen Sadras there, but he is performing brilliantly. He really does just pull the absolute most out of his bike and just go, this is what I can do, let me show you what I can do. And the air-cooled really just can't compare to the liquid cool bikes in a way, in terms of getting on the throttle, getting the power out of them like they do on those liquid cool bikes. But it is brilliant to see Jensen Sadras has now worked his way back up into first place position of this race, and he's absolutely flying ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Is the new LC40 Elite Champion. Pressure isn't done just yet, though. Saxelby is still piling it on as they come onto the pit straight and into Paddock Bend, but now a little bit too far back to make the move. They come through. Of course, this is overall racing. They will still sit there. They consider it to have 1 podium out on the racetrack, but points are still awarded between the elites and the pros as 2 separate classes, so it's not just 1 race out there on the track, even if they only do have 1 podium at the end of the day. So although these guys looking to finish on the top step of the podium, it'll still be 25 points, even though that's kind of pointless now for both Sadras and Saxelby, given that both championships are done and dusted, as we are now halfway through the middle race number 2 of the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites at the final round of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. A little bit wide there at the Joey Dunlop corner from Sadras, and a little bit wide into Paddock Bend as well. Wonder if maybe starting to feel a little bit of the pressure, or maybe one mistake just compounded, as he was lucky that Reed Saxelby didn't have a go. As they come into Luna Bend, once again Saxelby is closed right up to the rear of the LC40 Elite Champion. He won't get him up the straight because Sadras, with that more powerful motor, will just blast off into the distance. But Saxelby does look very racy.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I've just been watching over those last few laps. He really has gained on Sadras and he's really trying to match his pace, but so is Finley Styles. Finley Styles is really close to the back of these guys as well. With just 4 laps left to go, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But Jensen Sadras is currently holding on to his lead at the moment, ahead of Reed Saxelby, but Reed Saxelby is really hot on his tail, which we don't normally see with the air-cooled and the liquid-cooled. Normally we see the liquid-cooled fly ahead and the air-cooled have their own battles, but now we're seeing that an air-cooled and a liquid-cooled are going to battle it out here in the second race for these guys here at Three Sisters this weekend. We still have just 4 laps left to go. Jensen Sadras is leading ahead of Reed Saxelby. Finley Styles in P3 at the moment is actually putting in the fastest lap. Finley Styles, a fastest lap of 50.891 last time round. They are really, really quick out there at the moment.
Yeah, they're flying, and they've got a bit of traffic to negotiate as well as they come into Paddock Bend. They'll have to make their way through who I believe is Ethan Bayliss, and it is on the number 86. Looks like they'll catch him and get through with no real issues, though. That being said, Sachs will be having to take a slightly wider line through there, although it maybe pays dividends into Luna Banks. He does close up ever so slightly, but again, Cedras with that advantage on the power, that extra grunt from that Elite Motor, liquid cooled and unrestricted. It just gets you that little bit extra down the straight, and Cedras will maintain that race lead. Or the overall race lead, should I say, as they make it 2 to go. Coming through the infield, past the Supermoto course and down into Lucy's Valley once again. Joey Dunlop corner, then the pit straight. Blink and you'll miss it. So fast is this circuit. Cedras and Saxelby going toe-to-toe for the overall race lead and the overall race win. But who will be on the top step of the podium come the checkered flag? Soon to be the final lap. Into Luna Bend we go. Still nowhere for Saxelby. He may have to rely on a mistake from Cedras. He may just have to pile the pressure on and hope his rival gets it wrong as the last lap flag beckons. One more tour in race number 2.
Yes, definitely. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. It is Jensen Cedras who leads ahead of Reed Saxelby with Finley Styles hot on their tail in P3, but these two are really battling it out at the front at the moment. Reed Saxelby really putting the pressure on Jensen Cedras. We've seen him go wide a few times. We'll have to wait and see how he handles it in these last few sections of this track. But we have got just under 1 lap left to go. Jensen Cedras, the championship winner for the liquid cooled bikes, is leading this race, ready to reaffirm what he proved to us all earlier, that he is the leader, he is the winner that everybody wants to be. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Jensen Cedras as he comes round that final corner now. Checkered flag is waving, and it is Jensen Cedras on the liquid cool who wins this race. Reed Saxelby really close in second place, just 0.3 seconds separating them. Finley Styles in P3. That makes up our podium for this race of the Liquid Cool 40 Elites and the AC40 Pros. An absolute fabulous race we've just seen from those guys there. Jensen Cedras really had a few bad starts so far this weekend, but really pulled it back in those later parts of the race. But let's have a quick results read through. In first, we had Jensen Cedras, second, Reed Saxelby, third, Finley Styles, fourth, Joey Attersich, fifth, Freddie Taylor, sixth, Danny Longhurst, seventh, Claudia Dudman, eighth, Cooper Say, ninth, James Dermott, and coming 10th in that race was Ethan Bayliss. But an absolute brilliant second race of the weekend for these guys in the AC40 Pro and the LC40 Elite class.
Final race of the day then. It is race number 2 for the senior Minimotos, and what an opening race to the final weekend of the year it was earlier on. Keaton Payne eventually taking the victory ahead of Matt Birkin in a closely fought battle. But can the 3-time and 2025 champion respond with a win in race number 2? Let's have a run through the grid and find out, shall we? It's Matt Birkin who starts from pole. Keaton Payne alongside. Nick Bennett is third with Chris Wells, a wildcard appearance in the senior Minimotos and a podium in his only first senior Minimoto race earlier on. He starts P4. Mark Payne is fifth with Harvey Jeremy alongside. Row 4 is the other Birkin boy, Callum White and George Rennicks, with Chris Yeomans and Tom Burt rounding out the top 10. Gary Eldridge is 11th with Chris Payne P12. Nicky Lewis is 13th, and again, if I'd have done a qualifying session, I would have been 14th. Probably wouldn't have even been allowed on the grid, to be honest. I was so off the pace. But
probably not, Ross.
We will show the footage at some point.
We'll show the footage. We've seen the footage, though, and we knew what happened.
Well, I mean, I knew what happened. I was on the bike. I was terrible. That's what happened. So there's no point trying to deny it. I was just really slow. So
yeah, but it was your first time on your bike. Everybody has a first time on a bike. Where they're going to
it's first time Chris Wells is on this bike, and he's stuck at P4. So different abilities. Oh, someone coming to a stop there. Waved yellow flags. Not quite sure who it is, as the rest of the riders make their way into the grid slots. Just trying to figure out who that is, and I'm not too sure. It may be the 322 of Callum White, potentially. It was the 322 Callum White. Later on today, given this is the final race, we will be uploading onto the FAB-Racing Facebook page an exclusive interview with Andrew Irwin, the British Superbike Honda Racing rider, here this weekend supporting his nephew Jack, who's making his debut in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup here. So make sure you hang around to see that one. But for now, it's time for the final race of the day. It's time for the senior Minimotos.
Absolutely. Lee Clay's at the moment. She's just waiting, seeing if anybody else will be coming back to the grid. But there is still that rule. If you come off during your sighting lap, if you have issues, you're not able to.
But he got pulled over by a marshal, so I think he's going to be in the clear.
Okay, we will have to wait and see if he does make his way.
Just been told in our ear as well, there's some debris that's just been found on the track, which is why we're sat here waiting. We're just waiting for the all clear from the marshals. Here we go then. Lee, you're moving off to the side of the track. She's going to get that green flag, and it is flag up, flag down. We are away racing for the second race of the day for the senior mini motos. Absolute brilliant start there from Matt Birkin, Keaton Payne and Nick Bennett in P3. Those guys really got off quick and are really holding on. Chris Wells, though, in P4 still. He is really making his position known and says, I am getting involved in this race. Like we were saying earlier, his first weekend in the senior Minimotos, and he's really performed well in that race earlier on today. They're coming around now to officially start the first lap of this race, and it is Matt Birkin who leads ahead of, it was Keaton Payne, but Nick Bennett had a really smooth, clean move on Keaton Payne there to get up into second and take that position away. So that means that Matt Birkin leads, Nick Bennett's in second, Keaton Payne in third, and Chris Wells is running in fourth at the minute. Absolutely brilliant performance we are seeing from everyone. Those guys running in the top four have really pulled away from the guys in P5 and under. So Mark Payne and those following him really haven't got the pace to keep up with these guys running out from P1 to P4. But Matt Birkin able to take advantage of the battle between Nick Bennett and Keaton Payne at the moment, really giving him that advantage to build up the gap between everyone. As they continue to push onwards, 8 left to go. Nick Bennett, one of those riders that's never normally on top, but when he's on his day, he is tough to beat, and it looks like in race number 2 here, he is absolutely flying. Chris Wells as well in P4, the 2023 Pit Bike 140 champion, looks like he's good on the smaller machinery as well as he's holding on to that P4. Can he get another podium in this one? And it must be said, Matt Birkin still doesn't done his weekendly blow up once, crash once, and he came second in race number 1. So what one's going to happen there? That is Callum White, who's come to a halt once again, and more mechanical issues, and we've got 2 riders down further up the track as well, just behind him. There we see the 99 there of Gary Eldridge. Somebody else has also come to a halt at turn number 1. That's the 92 of Chris Bain. Did they come together, or was that... I think it looks like, to me, it was a problem for Callum White, and then just coincidence that the other 2 potentially came together.
Oh, we've just had someone else just go down.
Someone else has gone down.
They're all slipping on the same block.
Oh, there might be oil. There's got to be oil. Red flag. Yeah, there's oil now.
She's running across the track. We have been red flagged. That is 4 riders we've just had come down. Lee Close, she is sprinting across the track in her Crocs at the moment to go see what is going on, but that is most likely there is oil or some debris on the track, really causing everyone to go down.
Yeah, what a shame. Everyone is up on their feet. That's the most important thing. So 4 riders having issues there. Looks like that's Gary Eldridge on the 99. Yes, the 92 of Chris Bain. Also saw Callum White. I believe potentially Chris Yeomans has also gone off with them in sympathy. So 4 riders down. Everyone's up and okay and on their feet, but there is definitely something that's been put down there at turn number 1. Lee Clowes, our flag marshal, having a look, and I'd assume there's been some fluid dropped down there. If not in this race, the race before, there was a delay at the start of this one. Somebody dropped a chain somehow, which is quite impressive to drop an entire chain on a racetrack, it must be said. I wonder if that was that, and it's laid down some other things as well. But it was Matt Birkin that was leading. There was 7 left to go. So if we do restart this race or just go, we'll just leave it to tomorrow, because we've run massively ahead of schedule today anyway. This was supposed to be ending at 6. It's currently coming up to 4:45 local time for the final race of the day. It's going to be a full race restart either way, whether we restart it now or tomorrow if there is oil down, because no one really wants to waste time with a track cleanup. So we'll wait to hear what's happening from race control.
Yeah, Matt Birkin seems to be having a little involvement in the chat now, but sometimes it does help having the riders out there, because if they can feel it, where it's feeling that little bit slippy, they can advise on where the track isn't feeling
well, they are making their way.
Great, but everybody is making their way back into the pit lane at the moment, into the holding area. So we're going to just have to wait and see what the plan is here. We have had the session red flagged. We are running ahead of schedule anyway today, so it may be that we just have these guys do their second race tomorrow morning, but we will just have to wait and see what's going on there.
Yeah, we will indeed. Sun is beginning to set here in Wigan as the riders... Looks like Callum White's having to push his way back. Yeah, looks like the motor's given up, unfortunately, on the 322 machine for the other Birkin boy. But they'll make their way back into the pits. Deliberation still ongoing. Up at turn 1, we do have Lee Clowes. We've got another marshal, Dale Baldwin, as well. Our official photographer here at the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. He's also over there having a look. And we've got a couple of marshals, orange-clad trackside marshals now making their way down. That's Louise Thomas from Race Control, who's joined Lee and Dale. So trying to figure out what's going on. But while we're doing this, well, I've been told in my ear I haven't got a choice, so we're going to show it. We did record me wobbling around yesterday on Matt Birkin's bike in a practice session. Shall we have a look? Izzy, yes. Do you want? Because obviously I was there. You have seen this, I think, but obviously you weren't there.
No,
I was there. Yes, so why don't you talk about how terrible it is while I'm out there?
Right. Okay. Let's view. Oh, look, there he is, getting ready, Kiddo. I mean, I'm surprised you managed to get all the gear, I'll be honest, to be able to do it.
It was Callum White's, it was spares. I'll say
that much. This is amazing. Oh, Ross. Oh, you look so sweet. Look at you. I actually can't believe you did it. We've been speaking about it. Yeah. You know, Matt's asked you many a time, and you actually just said yes. Look, but there was Matt passing you just then. Oh, this is brilliant.
It gets better in a minute when I nearly kill about 3 different people.
Well, that was what I was alluding to.
Yes. As I'm sure about to say, obviously, so through comes Holly Harris, who did take part in this session but isn't racing this weekend. Here I can hear these lot are coming. I stand up to try and let them through. Keaton Payne in the meanwhile comes out, misses me by about an inch.
Oh,
so sorry to Keaton Payne. That was that was like first lap out as well. That was quite scary, that.
I mean, how many laps did you do in the end?
I got 4 in, because I went out... Because it was all a bit last minute, so I went out after the session had already started, and obviously I was lapping quite slowly. So I only got 4 in. The last one was when I started to get a bit more comfortable, started to go a bit quicker, unwind the throttle. Because obviously these things don't have any suspension, so if you've never ridden one before, again, I didn't really think about this. Wobble. Yeah, there's the little wobble as well. Again, I think these are all early doors, of course. Here's me coming back in. But I think as well, it's one of those things where, you know, all the feel comes from the tyres, which themselves are quite small. So there's not a lot of feel from the bike, and I think that's what I actually really struggled with. Was that there just wasn't a lot to feel. And of course, this is the first time I've been on a race bike as well. I wasn't expecting to be fast. My goal was just not to crash. But it was really a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and especially the throttle as well. The throttle is so aggressive. When I was getting changed, Matt was like, yeah, just be careful on the throttle coming out of corners. I was like,
they are aggressive.
I'm not going to pin it out of a corner. Coming out of the pit lane, I thought, right, let's just give it a little bit, see how we go. Nearly high-sided there and then. It literally, you pull a tiny bit, and because all the power band's right at the top of the rev range as well, you pull a little bit and nothing happens, and then a little bit more and nothing happens, and then a little bit more and suddenly you're on your back wondering what's even going on. Again, a huge thank you to Matt Birkin for the bike. A big thank you.
You fitted so well. Come on, have a go next year. Why not?
I mean, I
Why
might need
not
to get
do
a
a
bike,
round
but
next year?
I might need to get myself a bike together first and find some money to do that. But again, a big thank you to Matt Birkin for the bike, to Callum White for the levers, to Chris Wells for the moral support, and to everyone in the Senior Minimoto's paddock for letting me go out there and almost kill half of you, apparently. That's one of the coolest experiences I've ever had, and it was a real privilege. It only took me 5 years of commentating on this stuff to finally let somebody let me have a go on their bike. So a huge thank you to all of those for all of that. It was a real treat. Thank you once again. That was me wobbling around at the back some 25 seconds off the pace. Again, if you gave me another session and a bit more time,
you'd be up there,
I still would have been at the back, but I think I would have liked to have been within about 10, 15 seconds. Do you know what,
Ross? I'm going to support you in this, because I don't want to be roped into doing it. So I'm just going to say, yeah, Ross, you would do really well.
No, I'm not saying I would have been on pole. I would have been at the back.
No, but
a little bit closer at the back.
But I wouldn't be able to do it, I don't think.
It is a very awkward seat.
I struggle with balance enough when I'm just stood normally. Everybody knows I'm so clumsy. What would I be like on a bike?
Yeah. No, it is a very awkward seating position, it must be said as well. And yet somehow Chris Wells can go out there straight away and just stick it on a podium first time of asking. So we went and see. You can see a lot of our younger riders up there. That's on the bank outside Luna Bend. I can see Taylor Tomlinson, Caelan Ratcliffe there as well. I think that's Sebastian Gazlavsky I can also see. So a few guys watching along, because not the biggest crowd here today at Wigan, unfortunately, given we are racing on a Friday, so a lot of people still at work, and that's why a lot of people aren't here as well. I'm assuming some of the younger riders might still be at school today, so they might be turning up lastminute.com tomorrow. We'll wait and see. The track is clear, but the red flags still wave, and the riders still sat down in the pit lane. But it has been an amazing day of racing, it must be said, out there. So we're just waiting to hear from race control what the plan is. But most of the riders still down there in the pit lane. I can see Louise Thomas, one of our race stewards, who's come down from race control. She's in the pit lane having a conversation with someone. Sarah Harris also down there, of course, runs the Sarah Harris Race School at M4 Moto, where many young riders get their initial start and really learn how to stay on a bike before you make the jump into the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. You'll see Chris Wells has got the helmet off down there. Holly Harris is also here this weekend again. You would have seen her overtake me in that practice session. That's the only session she went out this weekend. Unfortunately, she's not feeling too well. But it's great to have Holly back with us here. Once again, of course, the Kawasaki Super Teen rider and a staple of the FAB-Racing Senior Minimoto's paddock, even when she's not racing. Who else is down there in the pit lane? Just trying to keep my eyes open. I tell you what, there's not much going on. We'll release it a little bit early. We've got a treat for you. We were going to release it later, but let's listen to what he had to say. Joining us this weekend, a very, very special guest supporting his nephew. Over to you, Honda Racing British Superbike rider, Andrew Irwin. A very special guest joining us this weekend at the final round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. It is Honda Racing British Superbike rider, Andrew Irwin. Great to have you here with us. First of all, what brings you to Three Sisters?
I have a little nephew, Jack, and he's making his racing debut here. He's been training with Sarah Harris down at M4 Carton, and I think now is the right time for him to come. So his dad and my brother asked me to come and bring him here. He couldn't be here today, so I thought I'd come for the weekend. And to be honest, I drove in last night, and there's so many more people than what I thought there was going to be. It's crazy, and it's a fantastic training ground, I think, for the future of our sport. Hopefully we can find the next MotoGP British star from this paddock, and I've actually had a ball watching, and the kids, they all want to learn, they all want to get faster, and it's nice to be here and nice to be able to give back a little bit of knowledge to anyone that asks. I'm always an open book, so it's nice to do that.
Absolutely. We've just seen you taking around some of the kids on a little track walk here on a Thursday evening, just lending some tips and tricks maybe.
Hey, honestly, I walk the track wherever I am on, say it's a BSB on a Thursday evening is normally whenever I'm here, and they asked if I take the kids around, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to get back to the sport that's given so much to me. So it's also nice to see the passion. There's kids from 6, I think, maybe 5 even, the whole way up through, and to see kids that have that proper passion, energy that I felt that I had 25 years ago, and I still have that same thing now. So I think that's mega, and you just never know what kid you're talking to and how far that they're going to go. And I think British motorbike racing is in safe hands with FAB at the moment, and I really think that what they're doing is fantastic.
Let's talk a little bit about you quickly. Of course, season unfortunately came to an end early, but are you still happy with how the year went overall, and any plans for next year confirmed yet?
Honestly, for 25, we started off injured. I got injured in the first round, so that was difficult. The first couple of rounds were pretty, disaster really, because I missed the first round, and then we really kick-started from round 4, from Knockhill onwards. And honestly, I think, I done a really good job. We were the top on most of the time, and I had a fast teammate in Tommy Bridewell, so to beat him most of the time was quite satisfactory, to be honest. But for 2026 we're working on some things now, and I'm looking forward to a change.
And only 1 week away from the final round of British Superbikes. Any predictions going into it?
It's British Superbikes, isn't it? You just know that the weather might play something. Kyle, you'd rather be in Kyle's position than in Bradley's position, because I think Kyle has 30 something points. But it's easy to say, I just finished third in the 3 races, but that's much easier said than done, especially now, because if you look at recent rounds, you've got Danny Kent, who's going to come back, Miss Dalton, he'll be strong at Brands, he always is. Glenn started to get strong, but Kyle's his teammate, he's not going to beat him, I don't think. Bradley's obviously strong, Leon has him strong, you never know what Tommy's going to bring, Charlie Nesbitt, the Kawasakis of Cook and Aiden, I think it's much harder to finish third than what people say, I just finished third. But I think it's in Kyle's hands, it's Kyle's to lose, but I think it's going to be a fantastic finale.
We'll have to wait and see. Andrew, thank you very much for talking to us, and we'll have to see you out on track in 2026.
Cheers, mate.
Wow, what a privilege to have Andrew Irwin with us here this weekend, and to get a few words out of him, of course, supporting his nephew Jack here at his first ever FAB-Racing Rookies Cup entry. So a big thank you to Andrew for speaking to us. Of course, British Superbike finale coming up next weekend at Brands Hatch, and I'm sure everybody will be tuning in, especially when you consider basically everyone who's being successful in BSB at the moment. Where did they get their start, Izzy?
Here at FAB-Racing.
Well done. I could see you gazing out the window what was going on. I thought you were trying to catch up. No, it's okay.
I've just seen Rog he's just walking back to race control. The track is currently just being double checked, but people seem to be returning to their positions.
Yes.
So we will wait and see what happens there. But Rog is just heading back over to race control.
Yeah, Roger Keys, our race director here at FAB-Racing. Again, a full track check was just done in place just to make sure there wasn't anything nasty put down. I don't think anything did get put down at turn 1. But still, we'll go again. One more race, or to try and get done again today. Race 2 of the senior Minimotos awaits us here at the FAB-Racing finale at Three Sisters. Welcome back to the final round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. You join us right at the end of Friday's action. Yes, a Friday and Saturday weekend here at FAB for round number 7. One more, half a race technically to go after a red flag due to 5 riders going down at the same corner. Suspected oil on the track. That is the race number 2 for the senior Minimotos, which I'd expect, given how long we've got left and how far ahead of schedule, will be a full race restart. But the track has been checked, so I think we're ready to get going again. Matt Birkin, after missing out to Keaton Payne in race number 1 early on, started race number 2 looking very, very pacey. You can see there the 85 of Chris Yeomans doing some stretches, getting ready to get going. You can see there just behind the stair frame, the blonde bombshell Jamie King, looking like the real Slim Shady this weekend. Unfortunately, just missing out on the Pit Bike 140 Championship earlier on. But we're getting ready to go racing. And wow, it's been a fascinating race, or weekend should I say, of senior Minimoto so far. Izzy Higgs, what can we expect when we get this race restarted?
Ross, don't ask me that, because I wouldn't be able to tell you. I say this all the time. The Minimotos are the most chaotic. You cannot predict them at all. You never know what's going to happen between these guys. I mean, we saw everybody go down like Skittles. It was just one after another. And we were like, what's going on here then? And then the session did get red flagged. We are just going to wait and see. I mean, we even had at the start of the race, someone dropped a chain on the starting grid. An entire chain was dropped on the starting grid. So don't even know who that happened to, even if they managed to even move at all, really. But we are just going to have to wait and see what happens. But I mean, it's the last weekend. Of course these guys bring us the chaos. it wouldn't be FAB-Racing without the chaos of the senior Minimotos, and they have brought it all this final race weekend here at Three Sisters in Wigan. But it is amazing stuff to see that everybody is there. Oh, we're just going to wait and see. It looks like everybody's been called together, maybe. I just saw the Pit Bike Sonic just go do like a little lasso, as in calling everyone together. So we'll find out what's happening, but I can hear bikes start. Oh, bikes are starting up.
Hold on. Oh, there's Rob. Hello, Rob Keys, coming through the camera.
We've got a visit here from Rob Keys.
Well, Rob's got to... right, thank you very much, Rob Keys, who's just poked his head into our commentary box, which is directly behind where this camera is. We're getting 2 sighting laps, and then I'm assuming a full race restart. So we'll run through the grid view on this first of 2 sighting laps. And again, I'm expecting it to be a full race restart after that red flag last time, where 5 riders ended up going down at turn number 1 due to suspected fluid down on the track. Everyone was A-OK, and all looked like they're able to restart the race. It is Matt Birkin, the 3-time 2025 champ, who starts from pole position. Keaton Payne, race 1 winner, starts alongside him. Row 2 is Nick Bennett, with Chris Wells waking a wild card senior Minimoto appearance this weekend and already getting a podium in only his first ever senior Minimoto race. Mark Payne starts in 5th with Harvey Jeremy alongside. Callum White is P7 with George Renix in P8. Top 10 rounded out by Chris Yeomans and Tom Burt. Gary Aldridge is P11 with Chris Bain in P12. And our sole starter in the row number 7, P13, Nicky Lewis out there. So one more sighting lap for these guys just to get their bearings after a long delay of being sat there down in the pit lane, as the track just had to be inspected. Again, it was suspected oil down at turn number 1, coming up the end of the Conrod Straight, the main straight. But I think we're all okay to go racing now.
I think we are too, Ross. And just looking out of our very useful window here in the comments box, it looks like Pit Bike Sonic, Mr. Jamie King himself, could be doing the yellow flag.
God.
The yellow flag, green flag.
Why are we letting him do this, Lee? She can see me shaking my head in the commentary box. Why are we letting the man do this? His ego's big enough already. He's got the worst head. That's the kind of thing I'd be expecting Pit Bike Sonic to do. The 4-time Pit Bike 140 champion. We like to take the mick, but I'm sure he'll be fine. Yeah, he's. I don't think he's ever started the race. He's certainly stopped enough races by crashing before. But yeah, we'll wait to see how well Pit Bike Sonic, the 4-time Pit Bike 140 champion, can get a race started here at FAB-Racing. It's the final round. I guess all logic's gone out the window.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ross. I feel like everyone's hit a bit of stir craziness at this point of the evening, I'll be honest.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, my word. Do you know what? I feel a bit more stir crazy than we did when we had that red flag last time round. You ended up doing a race with the kids. We had the Macarena happening down in the pit. It was all go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit stir crazy.
Oh!
You are joking me.
Oh, come on.
That is the 92. Chris Bain. Unable to finish the sighting laps.
It looks like no Callum White out there either. Jamie King gets us started in race number 2 of the senior Minimotos, and it's a great launch from Keaton Payne. Will take the lead from Matt Birkin down into the second turn onto the Rogerson straight. But Jamie King just about got us away well there, I think. It's Payne from Birkin, from Nick Bennett, your top 3, as we come to start lap 1 proper. Matt Birkin, the 3-time champ, the 2025 champ, fight backs to the inside and will lead us on to lap 1.
Absolutely, yes he will. Matt Birkin just did it, just in the nick of time to properly start the first lap of this race. We have 9 laps left to go, and it is Matt Birkin who is leading ahead of Keaton Payne, with Nick Bennett behind them in P3 at the moment. But we will have to see what happens in this race. But Matt Birkin, who's just coming flying down past the commentary box now, got a really good lead on Keaton Payne. We're having a bit of a repeat of the race earlier in that he is able to hold on to that lead whilst Payne and Bennett are having a little battle there for P2.
Yeah, that's going to drag them backwards a little bit. Birkin, I'm sure, just wants to get on with it as the number 92 of Chris Bain trudges his way back into the pit lane. He's definitely down and out. Is there potential for a move here as Bennett has made his way through? Bennett has made his way through Keaton Payne now. Apparently the 57 of Nicky Lewis is leading this race. Not sure that I quite believe that one, but we'll push on anyway. Matt Birkin slides his way round and continues to push forward up the front though as the battle for second place rages on. There's a little bit of a gap back to Harvey Jeremy in P4, and then there's a huge train all following Chris Wells behind them. They're just making their way into Paddock Bend now.
Absolutely. Chris Wells didn't have the best start to this race as the one before the red flag, so he is now just going to be working his way. Like we said, it is first weekend with Senior Minimoto. The last race weekend, everybody kind of just has a go, tries some different classes, has a little feel for what it could be next season when we start back up again next year. But at the moment, Matt Birkin has got a really good lead ahead of Keaton Payne and Nick Bennett. 1.841 separating them. It looks like Keaton Payne, from our timing board, has now got the moves done back on Nick Bennett. Those two are just, it's like they're playing tag and saying, you're it, your turn, and they're just swapping and changing who is running in P2.
Trading places like it's going out of fashion as this battle for P5 continues to rage on. Chris Wells holding on just about anyway. You've got George Rennicks, Chris Yeomans, Tom Burt all in tow with it soon to be 6 laps left to go. Wells a podium in race number 1, of course the wildcard senior Minimoto entry this weekend, looking like he may have to be holding on for a P5 in this one on the defensive, but it's not over yet as they come to break the beam. Is there a run from anybody as there's more changes or attempted changes up the front in the battle for second anyway? Nick Bennett and Keaton Payne almost coming together up at turn number 1. Great avoiding action there by Bennett. Think he may have just got it slightly wrong, but he can push onwards, get back on the attack. Again, these guys fighting. It's just allowed Matt Birkin to extend his lead. 2.8 at the line last time.
Matt Birkin is doing what Matt Birkin does best, getting a hold of that lead, flying ahead of everybody else, really proving why he has been champion as many times as he has. I mean, this year he's done it again, and it just absolutely proves he's really, really good and really, really quick on these senior Minimotos. On our screens at the moment, we are seeing the battle going on between the guys running in 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. That's Chris Wells, George Rennicks, Chris Yeomans and Tom Burt. Chris Wells has really got a train forming behind him at the moment, but it looks like Chris Yeomans on that 85, just made that move up past Chris Wells there. That seems to be really smooth, really easy for him. Maybe Chris in this second race is having a bit of struggling a bit, not really coping very well.
Maybe it's definitely not quite going as smooth as race 1 did, and maybe Josh Birkin's bike underneath Chris Wells starting to give up the ghost. Maybe Wells a bit tired, not quite feeling it. Who knows? 5 to go though, soon to be 4 whenever Matt Birkin gets to the line, which sounds like it's going to be about now. Yes, it is. Wait to see how big the gap is. Keaton Payne 4.1 back. Birkin has disappeared up the road. It is a champion's ride so far from the number 1, the 3-time champ, the 2025 champ, proving why he is the best in Britain on a senior Minimoto machine at the moment with a huge lead. Of course, if you're better than I am and you fancy having a go, head over to the FAB-Racing website, head over to the FAB-Racing Facebook pages, find out how to get involved in senior Minimoto racing, some of the fiercest motorsport, some of the fiercest competition you will find anywhere in the country, and of course at relatively little cost as well, presuming you don't smash the bike up every weekend.
That is very true, Ross. You don't want to be smashing up the bike every weekend, really. But I mean, just look at Matt Birkin out in front at the moment. You can really see how tight he pulls into that bike, which I'm guessing, I can't really understand it as a senior Minimoto because they are so small in comparison, but you do now, Ross. And is it easier on those straights to kind of tuck in a bit to really push the bike the best you can?
It's certainly easier to kind of tuck in, but not necessarily with your knees because you're so constricted space. It's more kind of just getting your head down to try and get a bit better aero kind of going down the straight, as bizarre as that sounds. And maybe I'm too new and too inexperienced to really know how to get the weight transition correct. But, you know, you do see riders getting off, leaning, moving around on the straight. Maybe not to make things easier, but certainly to speed things up. You'll see Matt Birkin especially really likes to tuck in down the straight before popping his head and his body back up for the corners. But he stays fairly upright through the turns most of the time, compared to a couple of other riders who are not quite Marquez style, but are certainly a bit more off of the bike. It is the penultimate lap of the race, by the way. It is Matt Birkin with a 5.1 second lead. Keaton Payne is nearly a second ahead now of Nick Bennett, who has then got 11.7 second gap back to Harvey Jeremy in P4, as Chris Wells now under real pressure from behind. George Rennick's looking for a way through, couldn't quite find it. Cam Wells maybe try and sneak his way back up past Chris Yeomans. Will the 68 find his way past? In fact, it's Tom Burt, not George Rennick, who's slid on by. So now under pressure from Burt, and he's all over the back of Chris Wells, who runs a bit wide there at that corner.
Yeah, definitely, but here he is, our race leader. He's just made it, so he's just got one lap left to go now. You can see he's catching up with a bit of back traffic there. He's got to worm his way through them, weave past them, and then keep going around the track. But Birkin isn't really under any pressure. The back traffic shouldn't be too much of an issue for him, unless he manages to crash into him and crash out of the race, which could potentially happen in senior Minimotos. We never know. We really never know. But he looks to not really be facing any issues at the moment. He's just got us one more person just to make his way past and then just get round the rest of the track to finish this race and take first place once again. Matt Birkin, there he is, checkered flag. It's Matt Birkin who takes the race win of the second race for the senior Minimotos here at Three Sisters in Wigan. Absolutely amazing stuff from our championship winner, Matt Birkin.
It's a champion's ride from Birkin. Another brilliant performance from the three-time champ here in the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. Only one race to go for the senior Minimotos in the 2025 season. So make sure you're watching, make sure you're drinking it in, because after the next race tomorrow, it's going to be a long old break. It is Matt Birkin, your 2025 champion, who takes a huge lead, and you can see confusion in his eyes. Where on earth is everybody else? Oh, he's a funny man, really, isn't he? It is Matt Birkin who takes a massive win by 4.9 seconds. Keaton Payne in P2. Where is everybody else? He's still doing it, with Nick Bennett rounding out the podium places. Harvey Jeremy is fourth, with Tom Burt P5. Chris Yeomans was sixth. Chris Wells down to seventh place at the end of that one. Maybe it was a fluke in race number one. Maybe he should stick to pit bikes. It's George Rennick's P8, Gary Eldridge P9, and Nicky Lewis rounding out our top 10. Unfortunately, we lost Mark Payne, Callum White, and Chris Bain in that one. But it is another brilliant performance from the champion, Matt Birkin, at the end of that one. Once again proving why he is the best in Britain on a senior Minimoto machine.
Right, and that is it for today, everybody. We did run a bit ahead of schedule, so we have got 14 races done today, which means we have got just 16 to bring for you tomorrow. But it is our last race weekend, so it will be our final few races of the season tomorrow. But we will be seeing you then. Please do join us, like, subscribe, share, comment on whatever social media you are watching our stream from. And yeah, we will see you all tomorrow.
Absolutely. Mentally prepare yourself for the heartbreak, knowing that FAB-Racing is done in 2025 in less than 24 hours. But it's set to be a barnstorming final day of the season. All of our championships are done and dusted now. We are out here racing for fun, racing for personal glory, and racing to put on a show. So make sure you're joining us tomorrow, Saturday, of course, bizarrely, for the final day of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. From myself, Ross McIntyre, Izzy Higgs alongside me. It's been a pleasure so far. One more day to go. We'll see you there.